I want to start.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? Hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday so far. I decided we should do another tinfoil day. No one won bingo yesterday, and that doesn't feel right. And frankly, there was some tinfoil I wanted to watch, and I'd rather watch it with you guys, so let's do that. Let's see what I missed in chat. We are playing bingo today, so make sure you get your bingo cards ready. We are getting closer to the third month of costume month. We have a little over a week left on costume month until I'm back to regular clothes. That is on course, unless we get costume month 3. So tips go towards that. Also, bits, subs, memberships, all these things help. So appreciate it. Couldn't do the show without you. Puka, thanks for 300 bits. Appreciate it. Halloween Town with a 7-stream streak. Feistiest Bard with a 50-stream streak. Nice. Bumble Homestead with a hats off. Comfortable hat. Okay. I know I always pick the wizard hat. I know, but it's comfy. Comfy hat, and I think it looks good with most things. Also, Miss Frizzle is basically a witch anyway. Alright. So, we can get into it. We'll start with these fine folks, who are going to talk about how they think Joe Biden isn't really the president or whatever. This is a recent video. This isn't old. Generdy, thanks for a 7-stream streak, says Sobsit Tinfoil. Now all Cat needs to do is be on Chudwatch and VHS and she'll complete the Stana Grand Slam. It's my version of an EGOT, basically, which is impressive. I don't think anyone's gotten it so far.
I want to start with
Bob Larson. Bob Larson's close. He has done old VHS stuff. He's into tinfoil. He is a chud. He's just not a sovereign citizen. If he ever gets into sovereign citizenry, he'll have it. He'll have the Hannah EGOT.
something that was trend. I want to start with something that was trending. Mostly, this has been attributed to like QAnon related stuff.
QAnon referenced on the bingo card. Jay's a proxy. Thanks for a 10-stream streak. Says, is Tim Waltz going to replace Tom Hanks as America's dad? Yeah.
Way back in January of 2021.
Quanon.
Yeah, Quanon related conspiracy.
Kent Hovind is also up there. What would he have to get into? I do have one he has some VHS stuff. Sovereign Citizen. Yeah, Kent Hovind. Kent Hovind is the first official Hannah Reloaded EGOT. He's into Sovereign Citizen stuff. He went to prison 10 years for that. He's a chud. He's a conspiracy theorist. And he has VHS material that we've watched. Yeah. Kent Hovind. Nice, Baha. Good call.
Conspiracy theories from 2021, early 2021. And we'll just start off with Reuters. We're just going to start right off with just debunking this whole thing, right? It says, fact check, debunking claims that Biden's Oval Office is a fake movie set, right? There was this whole idea that Biden's Oval Office was not, in fact, in the Oval Office. It was somewhere else. That was in January of 2021 from Reuters. And in September, Biden got his booster shot in the White House, and the rumors started back up again. So then we get another fact check on this from PolitiFact that says, no, the White House didn't create fake set just for Joe Biden's booster shot.
Yeah, they already have the set.
Let's look at this.
Yeah, that's definitely what they meant. Good job, everyone. We did it.
If your time is short, Biden received his booster shot in the South Court Auditorium of Eisenhower Executive Office Building, a frequent venue for White House news events and photo ops. The backdrop behind Biden as he was getting his booster shot wasn't created for that event. It had been used before.
5 days earlier.
Yeah, so like, look at this photo that everybody rightly is like, that is totally not.
Oh, so this one is fake. But they're admitting this is fake for this specific thing. So why do you think it's a conspiracy? I didn't, Spokane Dogman.
Not real. Like that is a painting. That is not a window. He is not in the White House. And PolitiFact fact checked it. And as they
that's a shame.
do in their most bullshit way, it's like he didn't create. Look, there's no fake White House where they're filming scenes that are meant to deceive the public into thinking they're happening in the White House, because it's a set that existed before and they've used it before. Like, which is not the claim, not the claim again, right? So this is funny. This goes to a guy named Charlie Spearing. He wrote this article for Breitbart, and he wrote, I wrote a story about Biden's imitation White House set last week. My guess is that it's easier to do Zoom calls and streaming events there than the actual White House for better lighting and all that stuff.
That makes sense. Honestly, that's not a bad explanation. Or for specific things where, I don't know, they need it, but the Oval Office is actually being used for something. But yeah, I don't understand why the QAnon people think this means that Biden isn't the president, which would be confusing, because if he wasn't the president, Trump would be the president, but they think everything's bad, and they're blaming Biden. So he would have to be president.
But the Biden team refused to respond for comment. And you can see these pictures here.
Yeah.
Like this
really
is
clearly
this is a fake set.
Yeah, they're not claiming it's not. Yes?
And again, so you've got January, there's no fake set of the White House. September, okay, but no.
The claim was that he was never in the White House. That's the original claim that was fact checked.
Oh, but yes. And then it's just like, well, here's why they built it from Newsweek.
Yeah.
But this isn't the thing from before. The other photos, he was in the Oval Office. All right. That one already annoyed me enough to move on. Move right on to another video by the same people, because that makes sense. Bumble Homestead says, my kid is taking media literacy for freshman year. Maybe we should do more of that. Yeah, I think that's good.
The Himalayan pink salt thing, a lot of you have already thrown it out there, often in the same TikToks as the petrified giant remains, which I think is funny.
Giants on the bingo card?
That the claim that Himalayan pink salt is the flesh, the petrified flesh of these giants, is in the same TikToks as, you know, these stone things. Because it's like, what are you saying, that if we cut into the stone things, we would find Himalayan pink salt? Obviously not. So like, pick one. When it petrifies, does it look like Himalayan pink salt? Or when it petrifies, does it look like stone? Like, pick one.
I will say that this picture looks like you're inside the fleshy.
Does she know that salt is rocks? Does she know salt is rocks?
Innards of like a Titan or something like that.
It really
it's
does.
Freaking wild.
This more than anything else, I'm like, am I allowed to believe my eyes or not? Like, I know nature.
You're allowed to believe your eyes. I think your brain's the problem. You're misinterpreting what your eyes are seeing if you think it's meat.
Rhymes, but holy shit.
My wife was so worried about this episode because she loves her pink salt. And she's like, if I find out this is Nephilim, Nephilim flesh, I'm just going to ruin it for me.
I think if you think there's a possibility that you're eating Nephilim flesh, I think you have bigger problems than not getting to do that.
Kura mine, this is one of the biggest mines. Himalayan pink salt became popular in the 2000s when
should add a bingo space. Hannah gets annoyed into moving on early. Yeah.
Trader Joe's started selling it. There's another image I have for you of when Himalayan pink salt is broken up into chunks.
Oh, again, I thought that this was actually a picture of meat.
I'm going to say thinks evidence is self-evident on the bingo card. They're basically looking at this and thinking, that looks like meat. Must be meat. I'm going to say thinks evidence is self-evident.
Send it to me.
No.
There should be a 3 strikes bingo space. I don't know how comfortable I would be with that, because then there's going to be some people hoping we come across really problematic videos. I don't like the incentives that creates.
Okay, that's not meat.
That's Himalayan pink salt. So, yeah, you crazy conspiracy theorists, how dare you think that was a pile of meat when your eyes told you it was definitely a pile of meat?
Yes, this is a you problem. This is absolutely a you problem. You're describing the problem, and then you're reveling in the fact that you are the problem. What is happening?
Yeah.
It's difficult. Like, your eyes so clearly tell you what this is. So there's a fact check on this.
You're echoing.
That I thought was interesting. And actually, this is a fact check that got me looking deeper. So this is from Science Feedback. Himalayan salt formed through the evaporation of ancient seas. No evidence that this salt is petrified blood or tissue. Key takeaway. Available scientific evidence shows that Himalayan salt comes from deposits in the Salt Range Formation, which formed around 545 million years ago. So we already know they're lying, right? Through the evaporation of ancient seas, scientists have analyzed the composition of these salt deposits and found that they are primarily composed of sodium chloride with some minor trace elements. There is no evidence that the deposits are remains of giants.
Guys, did you know this salt is mostly salt? H-Baird says, if you really want meat, you should pick up a roadkill bear, leave it in your car all day, then dump it in Central Park. That sounds pretty presidential to me.
Nor that such a being existed on Earth.
Would this be rock tree was human? Yes it would. This rocker tree was human on the bingo card along with giants. Someone fact-checked this? You have to. You have to.
2 takeaways from this fact check, because it's kind of long. One is that the salt mines are a very distinct location. They are in the Himalayas.
I never would have guessed based on the name.
They are in the Salt Range Formation in the northern Punjab region of Pakistan. It's not like these are all across the world. You would think that if giants had been everywhere, that you would find Himalayan pink salt everywhere. If that was, you'd think.
Okay.
But we can come back to that. Mm-hmm. The other thing here is that they're like, there's no evidence that this is biological material. But the whole point, the whole process of petrification is that all of the biological material is replaced.
Okay, here's the thing, though. It doesn't turn into salt. Things that petrify don't turn into salt. So there's that one.
With rock, with elemental material. So of course there's not going to be a biological trace. You're not going to be able to test it and go, yeah, this is meat.
Right, just like
yeah, Lot turned into salt in the Bible, or Lot's wife rather, and I thought that's where they were going to go with it.
Be able to test a
I thought they were going to say like, oh, we know that God has turned people to salt.
Fossil and
yeah. So
no, they're not suggesting it's giant crap. They're suggesting it's the corpse of giants.
I got talking to
Soylent Pink, if you will,
our friend Real Truth Cactus about this, and talking about the process of petrification and
the difference in types of carbon and amounts. I assumed it was a chemistry thing.
We've talked before about in this show about the rhyming of nature. Just because you see one pattern in one place of nature, a pattern in muscle formation, and you see that same pattern again in geology, does not mean that those things are the same.
Correct. Correct. Apply it.
It's not automatically evidence that those things are the same just because you see a similar pattern. Because there are patterns repeated all across.
It's like I can't tell if she's trying to convince herself of the conspiracy or talk herself out of it. She's in this weird nebulous place where she's acting like she's skeptical, but she's also like super into it.
All across creation because of a creator who liked to use the same motifs over and over.
Okay, that's a faulty reasoning, I think, but whatever. God, just like this meat motif, I guess. H-Bird says, rhyming, she says. Is this George Lucas? like poetry.
Lots.
It rhymes.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme, every stanza kind of rhymes with the last one. Hopefully it'll work.
That little it did not work.
However, when you're evaluating a claim like this, it's important to say, okay, if this is true, what should we expect to find? And so Cactus and I talked through this. If it's
She's wearing a literal tinfoil hat.
true that Himalayan pink salt is petrified giant mussels, what would we expect to find? And Cactus said, well, you would expect to find the elements that are in in a human body extra present in the salt. You would expect that it would not be just sodium chloride, but you would also have the minerals that are prevalent in a human body would stay. They wouldn't get replaced when the biological material was replaced. And so we would want to look at a spectral analysis and see.
Okay, they did. It's salt. They said it. There's trace elements and then there's salt. They did that. When they looked for elements, what do you think they meant?
What some of those trace minerals, if
Would
they were
be.
there or not.
So you'd have sodium chloride plus the minerals would have to match up to the human body.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
There'd be no other
right here in the
explanations if they did, by the way.
Spectral analysis from semanticscholar.org. We have at the very top is the control. It's just iodized white table salt. It's the most salty of the salts. So it shows that in that control group of the iodized white salt, it has some calcium, not a lot. It has some magnesium, not a lot. It has some potassium. Mostly it is sodium.
Yes, thinks evidence is self-evident on the bingo card.
Himalayan pink salt. And there's this whole analysis. Every single one of these is just different brands of Himalayan pink salt that
But they're
are
all
being
fairly
compared.
in the same range.
Yeah, they're salt.
So the calcium in the control is 400. The calcium in the Himalayan is closer to 4,000 in most of these. That's one. Calcium is one in the human body you'd expect to see more of. Iron is one, and iron is the reason it would be pink. Iron from the blood. You do see some iron in pink salt.
As we all know, iron is an element that only occurs in the human body, in our blood, and nowhere else in nature.
When it is not present in regular white table salt.
It's a literal 0 on the table salt, and we're getting up to between 80 to 150 on the Himalayan pink salt.
Magnesium, and I'm not a scientist, so do with these
You don't say.
numbers what you will. I'm not going to pretend I really understand
Just asking questions,
exactly what.
but denying the answers, so I can remain in a fantasy world that protects me from reality, which is scary.
What's going on here. But magnesium is something that is present in the original table salt at 83, 84, but closer to 3,000, 2,000, 3,000 in these Himalayan pink salts. That's another human body one. Potassium is another one where it gets up 3,000, 4,000 when it's only 150 in the original. It's certainly got
World is Undying with 22 months says, whoa, 22 months feel like I just started watching, right? Feels like yesterday. Bittergrin says, if can only come from blood, then something really big died on Mars. Mars itself is just a corpse. Fun fact.
a lot more body
Minerals.
Body
Ghosts of the old gods.
elements than normal salt. That's as much as I can do with it. But it was interesting to me that when I had the conversation with Cactus, she was like, you would expect to see iron, you'd expect to see calcium, you'd expect to see magnesium. And indeed, when we looked at the spectral analysis, those things were there and much higher than regular salt. Like, I'll leave it at that. Like, do what you want to do with it. I think what I'm going to do.
I find that so much more fucking obnoxious and cowardly than the conspiracy theorist that'll be like, there's a laser in space shooting your brain! At least they're taking a stance. This is bullshit. Fuck this lady. Oh, I don't know. I'm just gonna imply and beg the question. and then not take a stance because I can't be culpable for my beliefs. That's shitty behavior. Okay, moving on. Let's do the cat Espinda thing. I've waited long enough. Time for her twin flame power hour. She's into the twin flame stuff, if you don't know.
You love it.
Oh, I'm skipping that song. That's annoying.
This is hello, good men, women, and children.
Benekagami, thanks for 100 bits, kicking off a hype train. Bits, subs, and tips always help. Thanks, chat.
This is Kat,
And I'm Aaron.
and we are
Katarian.
And this is Twin Flame Power Hour. So
They have a couple name, like Braniston. No, that wasn't one. Who's a couple? I don't know celebrities. I know that was a thing. Brangelina. That was one.
thank you so much for joining us.
Benifer. That's probably what I was thinking of.
We're here because we want to help raise the frequency and raise the vibration. I believe that our Earth is raising its
Twin flame, like the weird cult thing. Yes, the cult utilized the twin flame beliefs, but I don't think they originated them. They just helped popularize them. Kat and her partner here are both into the twin flame thing. I haven't really covered the twin flame thing, have I? I don't know a ton about it. 43% to level 1 on the hype train. Basically, they're people who think that they have a special soulmate, but that soulmate you're gonna fight with a lot or something because you're kind of opposites, but you help each other also. And it's really odd. It's really odd. I don't know much about it. We'll get into it more on another day, but I just know she believes it, and this is her twin flame according to her and him.
vibration right now. And, we come from the Earth. Even the Bible talks about
They actually force trans people? Oh, that's a shame. Don't do that. Don't give people gender dysphoria. I wouldn't wish that on even the worst people I know. I wouldn't wish that shit on. It is so viscerally uncomfortable.
how we come from the dust, how God created Adam from the dust. And now we know that we
To make them hetero couples? Oh no.
are actually connected together. If we think about it, we're all brothers and sisters. But it's just there's some of us, or many of us, like Aaron and I,
Who forced trans people, the twin flame cult, I guess. Yeah, there's a Netflix documentary or something. I haven't watched. I think I started it, but it just didn't click with me. So I don't think I watched past like the first episode, but I'll have to try again.
who found our twin flame during this time of awakening.
Oh, good. They have a little graphic for awakening. I was worried they didn't.
One of the reasons that twin flames are getting together during this
What a weird kind of heteronormativity. I think I forget where it is. Was it Saudi Arabia or something where they also, if you were caught in a homosexual relationship, they'd like give you the option of having what we would call a gender affirmation surgery. Wouldn't be for that person, obviously, because they're not trans. Iran? The variety of different kinds of human bigotry is kind of a scary thing. It just comes out of weird places. Ugh.
time is so that we could help each other. We're basically mirrors of each other in many, many ways. And we were both asleep to what was going on in the matrix and around us. The first years of our relationship, we were watching football.
Gender misalignment surgery. Yeah. Like The Skin I'm In, which is a good movie with Antonio Banderas.
talked about all those things before.
Minute left on the hype train.
We were very deep into the matrix. And in our own ways, we had
Matrix on the bingo card.
things about us that needed healing, things that we brought with us. And we needed that healing and to start off on that early because of what is happening right now. And now many of people waking up to what's going on in the world with this matrix that was created for us. And, just having, a twin flame, during this time. And to me, it was amazing, but it wasn't easy. It could be tumultuous at times because we were actually here to help draw out some of like the worst things in us. And the one on the other side is here to help heal in this journey.
That's right.
Yeah. So how with everything going on right now, what is your thoughts about just from the time we met up until right now? I know it's a big loaded question, but
you know what? 8 years ago, if I'd known we were going to be where we are and we were going to go through everything that we were going to go through, all the obstacles, all the hardships, I still would have went for it.
Oh, he telegraphed that joke real hard.
It was worth it.
I feel like he practiced that in the mirror.
Don't you think?
It
Mother
was
is very proud.
we are actually living a path of authenticity and truth. When we were in the matrix, or when we were in our jobs, or when I was the CEO of my company, we were working under corporations. And in corporations, which are legal dead entities, you're required to follow many strict guidelines under these corporations. And the corporations are how the government controls us. And we are learning that, we just want to be free. Why is some government entity controlling the people through all of these?
To be clear, her business was property management. So she's saying that the government shouldn't get to tell her that she needs to like upkeep her property and pay taxes. Like literally she's complaining about being a landlord, basically.
Millions.
The government telling me I need to keep my buildings up to a specific standard? Monsters. What happened? Why did it go away? That was weird. What happened?
You love it.
To break the cycle.
That, we just want to.
Rumble's a janky site. Sorry about that. Trey says, it's funny to me that these people call companies dead entities when given the direction the Supreme Court is going within our lifetimes, companies are going to have more civil rights than people. I'm done doom scrolling. I'm hope scrolling. That's the imperative, chat. No more dooming. Only hope.
Be free. Why is some government entity controlling the people through all of these millions of codes?
Oh yeah, incorrect word origin is evidence for the corporations thing. Thank you, Talons.
Statutes and ordinances and mandates and policies and procedures. It just goes on and on. They tell you it's the law, but in fact, there's nothing lawful about it. If anything, it breaks God's law and natural law.
All right, neither of those things are in the Constitution, so maybe look that up.
Just due to the fact that they're hurting us in the system without our permission or without a contract. So.
Well, why are they doing it? I would say it's because we are, in fact, giving them our permission by allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
By saying nothing, by not fighting back, by not objecting.
I don't mean... never mind.
Absolutely.
Willful slavery we are in. And that's from the programming, generations of programming. And we're in the middle of it. We're trying to break the cycle. Here we are.
Here we are, yes.
He kind of has an intense affect. You know what I mean? Like everything's quite intentional. I don't know. It just concerns me a little bit.
And, we didn't see it in the beginning either. It was just, one of those things. Now we're in this path of awakening and being able to see things for what
God,
they
he's just spiking the lens and looking directly into my optic nerve.
Really, truly are. We are no longer fooled by the illusion of the Matrix because it's everywhere. Just like in the movie The Matrix. The
Matrix is everywhere. Just like in the hit sci-fi film of 1999 starring Keanu Reeves. The Matrix.
It's everywhere. It's when you pay your taxes. It's when you go to church. It's when you go to the grocery store. It's when you look outside and see planes spraying you with chemicals.
Oh, this next statement is wild. I watched like the first 10 minutes of this to check if it was good for tinfoil. The next statement I think is telling and something that happens to conspiracy theorists a lot, and it's they don't know what they don't know. So they end up with really faulty understandings of the world, which lead to probably some of the misgivings that lead them to conspiracy theory.
They're telling you it's
I'll get to that in a sec, Trey. I want to make sure I get to this.
for climate, to protect us from the ozone layer. But
She thinks that contrails, which she thinks are chemtrails on the bingo card, are there to, quote, protect us from the ozone layer. How do you even begin to unpack that? First, you gotta explain to her, no, well, there have been people theorizing and having ideas about spraying things into the atmosphere to try and reflect some sunlight or whatever, to try and negate some of the effects of climate change. That's not something that's currently happening in mass at all. Secondly, those are contrails. Thirdly, climate change isn't the ozone layer. Next, the ozone layer is not something that we are against. The ozone layer protects us from radiation from space. And finally, the ozone layer, the issue was mostly resolved by banning the chemicals that were causing the hole, and it has been healing since the early 2000s. There's like 8 things wrong with her statement. How do you even begin to dissect the beliefs of someone who's fractally wrong? Trey says, you're right, Hannah, more hope posting. In good news, libs are finally starting to notice how weird it's gotten over the last decade, and worst, starting to see more cooperation between libs and left-wing movements. We could secure free food for kids in this country within the next 10 years. Get out and vote, everyone. Please do.
there's more of an agenda than that. They're not doing anything for our benefit. And this is what we've awakened in our journey. And now it's time that we begin to shine a light on what's happening. And when
Random footage of them playing Mario Kart, because why not?
the twin
I want to play Mario Kart with Cat Espinda.
flame powers activate, it's very powerful because we have the same mission. And I would say when we met, we
She collects coins because they're sound money. They're backed by gold.
definitely run
They are gold.
different paths at the time.
Very much so. Had
Yeah.
a lot to learn. You and I.
Yes, we have a yeah, we had a lot to learn. For me, when Aaron met me, I was very much a spender. I was I made good money and I spent it.
Very true.
And I wasn't always like that. Of course, when you don't have money, you learn.
I find this incredibly hypocritical considering she stopped paying her mortgage specifically because she decided money wasn't real. Yet she's certainly claiming she spent plenty of it in her time. So clearly she understands money is accepted as currency. And be Vulpine, how you doing?
To ration, to budget.
Breeches and Hose says, finally got insurance from the new job, hoping to get FedEx to fund my bottom surgery. Oh, hell yeah!
To live within your
Fucking get it. I'm jealous.
means. Once you get to a part in your life where money doesn't even matter, you could just buy whatever you want and you'll still have a lot of money in your account when you're done. I mean, that's all great and gravy, but there's a lot of people in this world that are hurting in this system that we've now learned is a Babylonian banking system here to enslave.
Thinly veiled anti-Semitism on the bingo card. For those that don't know, if you hear people say Babylonian banking system, long story short, it's secretly anti-Semitic. Basically, it goes through a process of, they know anti-Semitism is wrong, so they don't want to hate Jewish people. But instead of getting rid of their hate, they just decide through conspiracy theory, oh, the people who call themselves Jewish these days aren't the real Jewish people. They're a secret cabal of Babylonians that through Russia over time became and pretended to be the Jewish people and usurped the actual Jewish population so they can use things like Babylonian banking system instead of saying the anti-Semitic stuff they really want to say. It's still anti-Semitic, they just put a coat of paint on it. I know that that's convoluted, but so is their thought process, so, Humanity.
We are literally a slave race. and we can keep living in the slave race and living our lives in a very low frequency called apathy. One of the people in my comments had mentioned, because I was showing the chart.
That's a nice little meteor transition.
Our frequency and how
vibrational scale of consciousness. Let's see. It doesn't say what the frequency is of, but I guess at 20 frequency is shame, 30 is guilt, 50 is apathy, 75 is grief, 100 is fear, 125 is desire, 150 is anger, pride is 175, courage is 200, neutrality is 250, willingness is 310, acceptance is 350, reason is 400, love is 500, joy is 540. That's interesting, not 550. 540 specifically. Peace is 600, enlightenment is 700 plus. So I guess it just keeps going up infinitely.
Desire is a low frequency.
Yes, vibes-based conspiracy, literally.
Behavior. And somebody
yeah, I'll count that as vibes-based on the bingo card for sure.
In the comments mentioned, well, and I'm
frequency of what? Emotion, obviously. You fool.
I'm gonna put that up here so everyone can see that comment, what was exactly was said. But basically they noticed that, or she noticed that apathy was even lower than desire. And apathy is kind of where, from what I see, 80% of the people in this country are still sitting around apathetic to what's going on in our world.
Presumably she sees people not seeing what she sees as apathy instead of recognizing that maybe she's wrong about her understanding of the system.
We've got these child sex rings, we've got pedophilia, we've got a criminal justice system that serves no justice to the people.
She's a Trump supporter, by the way. Kagami says, I find the prevalence of people thinking evidence says something completely different than what it actually says to be both sad and frustrating. In a recent leftist drama, I was trying to help some of the audience understand how the evidence provided by the employer actually proved the employer was lying and owed their worker money because math. Then the employer changed the story in front of everyone and most didn't catch it and still wasn't supported by the evidence. It's maddening. Some people weren't lied to and gaslit by your parents and it shows. Learn that people lie to you. Every moment. I know it's exhausting. People lie to you. All the fucking time. Stop trusting people. At least not people you don't know well, you know what I mean? Even that's iffy, but like, certainly not randos.
And we've talked about this before. I've said...
And definitely not people's whose interests are opposed to your own.
Apathy is tearing the world apart just as fast as evil, if not faster. People are so willing to turn a blind eye so long as they themselves are not affected by it. And that's everything from the face masks when that was going on to the child trafficking that's happening right now as we sit.
Wow, you just compared face masks to child sex trafficking. How's that feel?
Here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's a really good point because, we both could have just lived very comfortable lives, stayed in the Matrix.
Is this graphic doing the 666 hand sign? No, it's making you look. Gotcha, bitch. Punch.
And just turn a blind eye to the truth. It would have been eating us up inside, knowing what the truth
oh, fuck, I lost the game.
Is. And there's still a lot of people out there that have, they don't have a choice but to be in the Matrix. And I know that it's a very hard choice to make. It takes a step of faith. And, this road that we've gone down, this is a road that we've chosen. It's not a road that happened to us. We are exposing some evil, a big evil, that crimes against humanity that's been,
Did I see the Twitter CEO's salty video about advertisers leaving? I did. How ridiculous. After Elon Musk told advertisers to go fuck themselves and that he didn't need them, now he's suing them and claiming RICO violations, which is Racketeering, Influence, Corrupt Organizations Act, which is basically was an act invented to stop the mob He's trying to sue a bunch of advertisers for pulling ads from X, for being, you know, an app filled with Nazi shit brains. Diogenes 42, thanks for 5 months, says, woo, 5 months, woo! And also, hi.
I was shocked by the evidence uncovered by the House Judiciary Committee that a group of companies organized a systematic illegal boycott against
A
X.
systematic illegal boycott. What's an illegal boycott? What the fuck does that mean?
It is just
You're not giving me money. That's illegal.
wrong. And that is why we are taking action. Today, we filed an antitrust lawsuit against the Global Alliance for Responsible Media, 4 of its key members, and the World Federation of Advertisers. These organizations targeted our company and you, our users.
You told them to go fuck yourself.
The evidence and facts are on our side. They conspired to boycott X, which threatens our ability to thrive in the future.
Go fuck yourself. Who cares? You think you have a right to own a successful platform? It's not our fault Elon wasted $40 billion to shitpost.
That puts your global town square, the one place that
The global town square, where you can't say the word cis because it might upset the richest man in the world.
you can express yourself freely and openly at long-term risk. People are hurt when the marketplace of ideas is constricted. No small group of people should be able to monopolize what gets monetized.
Oh, wow. A small group of people, or like one person having a bunch of power, like a billionaire. Wow. Imagine that being a bad thing.
Perpetrated against the good men, women, sons, and daughters of our world, and we didn't even know it because many of us were born into it.
Overthought with 100 bits says several companies coming together against one person is literally the opposite of what antitrust suits are about. H. Baird said, so wait, I can sue people for not buying things I'm selling and force them to buy stuff from me? I gotta get my eBay store back up and running.
And they use the television to, broadcast lies, deception, and create this phony reality,
Hey, Nemesis.
telling us that reality is fake and fiction is actually real. A lot of the things that they put in front of us on the
Does Aaron ever talk?
television.
He's kind of like the hype man for a bully in like an 80s or 90s movie, where the bully will say something and they'll have like a smaller kid that follows them around and goes like, yeah, what he said. Trey says, people are hurt when speech is restricted. What happened to Men for Harris, Elon? Why were they removed?
Is predictive
Yeah.
programming and the messaging that's going out to us as well. Causes us as people who
Like Bulk and Skull. I think their relationship dynamic is more complicated than that, especially after they were kicked off the police force and had to go to space. Their time apart, when Bulk was sent into the space colony and Skull was left on Earth, if anything, made them grow together. All of that really happened in, like, later seasons, not even later, Lost Galaxy. So yeah.
who are watching that, being that the eyes
I like Power Rangers.
are the lamps to our soul, garbage in, garbage out. And they knew that. They knew that with all of the testing that they've done over the years. They've studied the psychology of many different religions, races, females, all different age groups.
So he's Grover Delta or Scott Farkas. Yes, finally, someone with a reference that made sense. Yes.
Minority groups. And the thing is that they put us all into these groups.
Excuse me, on the left.
Wow, she's just using that same clip. All right, I'm moving on. Thanks, Kat, for being a very strange individual. I'm still curious about these people who claim they can live forever. Let's take a look at one of their interviews. Did they ever reveal that they were a couple? The people in that video? They are, yeah. is from the Church of Eternal Life. Definitely isn't a cult. Perpetual life, sorry.
Neil Bandry, a pleasure to have you with us today.
Nice to be with you.
Thank you, Richard. Nice being with you.
Very interesting topic that you're all involved with, and you've been writing and lecturing.
Oh wait, that is the real name. Sorry, it sounded like the guy from Christmas Story, the bully from that too.
And you have this organization
Eugene Farkas.
in Scottsdale.
I failed as a Power Rangers fan, as a movie fan, and worst of all, as a streamer. I apologize. I look forward to being canceled.
Tell us a little bit about it, please.
Yes, we're a community out there of about 150 people, and we are people
Oh no, you were talking about Power Rangers. Now I'm really confused.
all over the world that gather together twice a week.
Bulk and Skull are not a couple. In fact, we found out in a more recent season that they didn't see each other for a long time because Skull became really rich. I forget what he did. He became really rich. That was in the Samurai season, I think.
And then once a month we have
I did get the Christmas Story thing right. All right, I'm uncanceled.
a weekend event. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's a great experiencing with one another because we're all experiencing that we're physically immortal right now. We're not trying to be, we're not trying to get there or become physically immortal. It's who we are already.
Fascinating. Jim, you've written extensively on this topic. Tell us about it.
Well, yes, like
They're
Bernie
claiming
said,
that right now they are going to live forever.
our main topic is creating community, an environment that's conducive to people living forever. In fact, Neo's been there. We had him speak there a couple months ago.
His name's Neo?
A really good job, and we have.
Sorry, Dillis Filler. Church of Unending Lifetime, or cult for short. Pretty good. Penikagami says, another thing that frustrates me is the utter lack of nuance that so many people have. Does this bit sound familiar? You're criticizing me over this bad behavior of mine. Clearly you're defending this objectively bad thing that happened to me that has nothing to do with my behavior. I swear people need to recognize victims can be abusers and to recognize obvious Mott and Bailey tactics.
Have people that are really dedicated to being radically alive, and that's a real key thing. That not only just are thinking of it as a philosophy, they are dedicated to living a lifestyle that's radically alive. And that's what Bernie means by saying that we're physically immortal now. We're not trying to get there. We become creators then of our own destiny. We feel we're innately alive people, but we've suppressed that aliveness. And this is what we write on a lot. We have written a book called Living Without Death, and what that means. It's all about living daily without death in your life. For example,
This makes me wish for the classy days of the integrity of Jilly Juice.
not buying a grave.
At least she pretended to do something. Like, here, make some salty kale water. Magic. Woohoo. This is just claiming you can do it. You did it. You're immortal.
Grave plot and saying you're going to live forever.
Did I see the creepy filter Dr. Mumby uses for her shorts? Oh, let me take a look. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, Africa.
This?
Oh, no. Ah, that's very filter. Much scared. Ugh.
Is for entertainment.
It was cabbage and kale water. It was cabbage and kale and salt. Himalayan pink salt, which as we learned is the flesh of giants. No wonder it makes you immortal.
Purposes only. Family. They just tried to take out Trump. They got him in the ear. What the hell? Yo, I'm gonna add the video to the end of this, but you know what's so crazy? This little village where I live in Kenya, there's a lot of safe houses for the foreign spooks. And I was being told by one of them that there was going to be some kind of false flag in the world.
False flag on the bingo card. The random military person who was stationed somewhere, where did she say, Kenya, knew about a secret plot to murder, assassinate an ex-president and current presidential candidate. Makes sense. Yes, as in spies.
And I should not leave Kenya after August because some sugar is going to hit the fan. But Trump, yo. And you know, these are the same guys that are bringing IMF here. You know, these are the globalists. You know, this is a cult. You know, this is a secret society. And can you imagine CNN and all those guys didn't cover it for a while? And then when they started to cover it, they started to spin the story, making it seem like it wasn't that serious, and actually criticizing. Because what happened is he was giving this speech. I don't even know where he was, family. He was giving this speech. Then next thing, you just hear ta ta ta. Then he got shot in his ear. Then like you guys will see the video. But at the end, he's like, fight, fight, fight.
Benigami says, I was actually fermented cabbage and kale water with Himalayan pink salt, though the pink salt could be switched with regular salt. And even Jillian herself admitted the pink salt was just to make it seem fancier. She said the normal salt's fine. It was just to make it seem fancier. God bless Jillian. She's doing very badly, which is why I don't cover her anymore.
Let me know what you think in the comments below. But family, this is a global invasion, and I've been feeling it. It's not just about Kenya. We've seen that this is what was going to happen in Kenya is being done across Africa. It's not just about Europe. This thing is way deeper. It's about the New World Order trying to take over. But Trump, and guys are saying they've not just elected him. They since they didn't manage to take him out, it's a clear win for him. And don't forget, me, I'm not agreeing with Trump. I'm just giving you the news.
It's a very strange one.
You're fooling yourself if you do that. You can fool your mind sometimes, but you can't fool the intelligence of your whole body. Your body is saying at the same time, hey, that's not going to happen. If you go out and buy a grave plot and you say you're going to live forever. So this is part of the dynamics that we work with every day, is changing people's programming. We feel people are programmed, a deep program, to death.
I would also like banana bread.
Longevity.
Someone throw me banana bread through the internet.
Calls it a trance of death. Leonard Orr calls it a death urge that's deeply ingrained in the body. And so what we are about is...
This just reminds me of the Deep Space Nine bit where there's the scam artist that is like, I can keep your cells entertained and you'll live forever. These guys have been doing this from the 70s. It's very possible that bit was a joke because one of the writers of Deep Space Nine heard about these people, because they have kind of a similar scam.
Changing that death urge, changing that programming within the body. And it takes a very intense dynamics to do that. It takes getting people involved on a deeper level than just most people get involved in changing their lives on a daily basis. We as human beings get into very deep habits. We're habitual creatures by nature. And even though sometimes we see something better for ourselves and something we really...
Banana bread Monday? Where's my banana bread?
Want to...
that was very demanding, I'm sorry.
Have in our lives.
I just really want banana bread.
It's hard.
Maybe I'm going to the store after stream. Maybe I'll get some banana bread.
To change...
Chat, leave me a tip so I can go buy banana bread.
Those patterns, and Neil and I were talking about that on the way over here today, how deeply people get ingrained in their lifestyles or their patterns. It's hard for them to change into something new, even if they like it.
Now, this is a fascinating topic, and I know, Neil...
if I can, Richard.
Certainly, go ahead.
What Bernadine is saying is that we're alive now. We can be immortal now. And recently
that sounds fucking delicious.
They've discovered that there's an aging gene, and if they can switch off the aging gene, everything else in the body goes on. There is no aging, and therefore you can defeat death in this way.
Fun fact, on a long enough time scale, cancer's inevitable. That's not a fun fact, but if you were to become immortal, eventually you're going to get cancer.
I think you're going to be
immortality is still going to lead to your death eventually, even if you didn't age.
A lot of advancements here in the very near future in this arena.
Astonishing, this whole topic. And Neil, you've traveled the world, you've lectured here and there, and you were particularly impressed by these people in Scottsdale. Tell us about it.
Yes, the group in Scottsdale that they have is very passionate, very alive, very embracing, wonderful group of people. And they meet, as I understand, twice a week. They get together to reaffirm their belief in the conquering of death, or rather just to live. Not so much conquering of death, but to be in a state of mind and a state of body of physical immortality, where they're not going to die.
State of mind of physical immortality. Genuinely, they're pitching this like your thoughts keep you alive.
What would you add to this?
What would I add to that?
This is literally the Fry meme where it's thanks to the power of self-delusion, I'm gonna live forever. Griffin Doggo says, cancer is inevitable unless you're a naked mole rat. They're immune to cancer, which is my favorite odd fact. Is that true? Because I heard that about sharks at one point, and then that turned out not to be true. I don't trust these cancer-free animals anymore. They lied to me once.
Well, really, you know, for me, it's like I had to close all the doors to death, all of them. And that means, you know, like Jim mentioned, not...
I have such a mean joke. I'm swallowing it down. It's gone. It's gone.
Purchasing a grave plot. What I'm doing is I'm preparing to live. I am not preparing to die. Everything I do is about staying here, about not leaving, not giving up. I find such a joy, and actually being around a lot of people that feel the same way, there's a power in that, and it does something physically to us. I experience that all the time when I'm with people who we're enthused. It's like we're in.
Okay, let's put this in a way that isn't an insult. I wonder how she perceives herself, considering, sort of like Alex Chu, who we've covered before, who also thinks he's immortal because of his immortality rings that he invented. We've talked about them. I bought them. I got them around here somewhere. Similar to Alex Chu, she is aging. Clearly. I don't think she's aging badly. For her age, I think she looks pretty good for the most part, and it's none of my business anyway. But if you look at her videos from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, all the way back to the 80s, which is the earliest material I think I could find with her, maybe some late 70s, she has aged. Again, pretty gracefully, all things considered, but she has aged. So how does she, in her mind, justify this clear aging, the fact that she goes out and buys wigs? How does she, like, marry these beliefs that she's immortal and is going to live forever, but also I am aging and doing a lot of things to try and help keep myself looking young because I'm horrified of looking my age? Like, these two things seem in opposition to each other, but somehow she has married them and is living her life with both thoughts simultaneously. Benikagami says, equally fun fact, cancer cells can be immortal. Ask Henrietta Lack's family. They're currently in the process of suing Johns Hopkins again for stealing her cells and then hogging all the royalties from all the vaccines and cancer research from those immortal cells. Yes, Baja has very, very strong feelings, rightfully so, on the Henrietta Lacks thing, because she was mistreated. Really fucked up.
Inspired. There's an inspiration that comes from the gut, and it causes the whole body to go where we never would go.
Self-delusion is the best illusion. In my experience, no! H-Baird says, in ancient Greek mythology, there was a king named Tithonus who was granted immortality but not eternal youth. He got so shriveled, he became a cicada. Ooh, that's a fun one. You should have Dorian Grayed. Gotta put that shit in a painting.
Just on our own. I'm not enough for me. I need to be with other people who are like me. Not the same as me.
You can go live in the villages in Florida.
As a personality, but we have the same goal in mind. We're here to put away anything, do away with anything that destroys the physical body. And so it's exciting.
And joy plays a big part of that, like Bernie said. I mean, sometimes when you're striving for something new, for change, you can get so serious about it, and it is serious work. Radical Life Extension, it's serious work, and we're serious about it. But that doesn't mean you can't have a lot of joy doing it. And it's very important. Sometimes we leave joy out of our lives, and that's what we're engaged in also in Scottsdale. And the message we want to send to everybody in the world is, look, let's work together for this purpose. Let's have a lot of joy doing it. It's a very serious, very dynamic, very important work. It's probably the greatest step for humankind that we've ever made. It's it's so huge in perspective, it's hard for some people to even grasp that right now. But we're getting out a new message of this all the time, and how important it is for people to embrace being radically alive. What does it mean, radically alive? It just means extending your life as long as you.
Profane Priestess says, the larger an animal is, the less likely it is to get cancer. Whales virtually never do. No one knows why, but the leading theory is that they're so large their tumors get cancer. Huh. The fire with fire situation.
You want to do it in a healthy.
I know the perfect cure. More cancer.
Method in a healthy way with vitality and total possibilities of great health, endurance. I mean, who wouldn't want
ants are constantly getting cancer? I don't know. In the Woody Allen film Ants, it never came up, and if that was true, it probably would have. There were a lot of ants in that movie.
Want that really, but sometimes we get afraid of things that are really great for us because we don't know what they're really about. It's the unknown. But this is a wonderful world we're entering into. We're talking about ending suffering in this world. We're talking about stopping death of the ones we love. Instead of being the enemy of one another, we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should be fighting death on this planet. And when everybody would get this message, this is a good way too to stop the conflict and wars on this planet, because in the body there's a death urge to destroy ourselves and one another. People don't know what to do with it. We should be destroying.
It sounds like he's citing like a Freudian concept of a death wish, which I'm pretty sure is like not considered a thing in modern psychology.
Our enemy, death.
Not in the way that Freud talked about it, but that's kind of what he's describing.
Not each other. We're not each other's enemy.
A fascinating topic, and in the history of the search for the fountain of youth throughout centuries, this probably is the most exciting time ever. Neil, what are your thoughts on that?
It is, Richard. You know, over the past millennia, so many people have wanted to live forever, but lacked the opportunity to do so due to the
fucking skill issue.
Scientific knowledge, the information that we have. Now, at this time, we are developing, we are discovering many different things that we can use to further our life, and we will have that within our lifetimes. We will see the opportunity. So people will then have the opportunity to live forever, not to die. And people can then choose, do they wish to die, or do they wish to embrace this concept? And
joke's on no, that joke's too dark. Never mind.
This ability to extend lives radically into the future.
My filter's catching some good ones today.
Here in this establishment, we've heard lectures by stem cell experts and cryonicists and so forth. So many different areas of technology and interest. What are your thoughts with regard to technology and your goals?
Well, I think it's fantastic. I mean, I'm excited because when I first started speaking, Bernadine and I, in 1971, I was like 20.
One of their founders was cryonically frozen. Yes, and it seemed like at the time, these two and that gentleman were in a throuple, which is great. I'm happy for them. Also seemed like they were kind of running a sex cult, though, which, like, that's no bueno. Not unless people know going in what the deal is, and it doesn't seem like they did. Don't trick people into joining a sex cult.
22 years old, I started speaking on radical life extension, physical mortality. There was no science. I mean, there was no one even talking about longevity at that time, and we were really considered crazy, you know. But I had a feeling about it myself, and Bernadine did too. You know, when I was 10 years old, I asked my mother, I said, why do we have to die to go to heaven? Why can't we have heaven here?
A sex cult, but consensual, so like polyamory? No, because they had like 20 people in the group. That's more like a swingers group, and they weren't necessarily in like relationships with each other. I mean, some probably did, but they also just kind of like all did each other, it seems like. So I think it was like individuals, couples, polycules, all in a group that were also kind of a cult that fucked each other. So more like a swingers group, but a cult instead of, you know, something consensual, which is fine.
On Earth. And so I'm excited today that there's so much coming out now in science. I mean, it's confirming what I've felt in my own person all this time. And it's exciting to meet people who are sharing this same passion. And I'm just out to embrace everything that enhances our lives. That's what we're doing. We're talking about being more and more alive all the time. I think it's Ray Kurzweil that said, live long enough to live forever. I think that was him, wasn't it?
Well, Dr. Albert de Grey.
Oh, Albert de Grey. Okay, that's right. And so that's really what it's about too, is living long enough to live forever. Every time, as long as you live, you extend your life another decade. There's new advancements in chemistry, new advancements in science, and we find new ways to stay alive. New advancements emotionally, psychologically, sociologically to advance ourselves as human beings. And it's exciting. There's every moment. Some people say to me, "Wow, living forever, that would be boring." I can't understand that at all. I mean, their lives must be pretty boring right now. So
yeah, a lot of people have boring lives or are depressed. Usually that's depression talking.
I'm excited.
Speaking of which, if you feel that way, I'm really sorry. Things are going to be okay, and things can get better. I've been there. It's going to be okay.
This is wonderful. Bernie and I are really excited about everything coming out.
How do you disseminate your views? You lecture locally, well, throughout the United States, I presume, and you've also written about this. Tell us about the dissemination of your subject matter.
Well, you mean how it came about totally?
How you publicize your views?
Yeah, well, we do streaming of all of our events, for one thing, that we have their live streaming. We travel all over the world. We've gone into 26 different countries, speaking on immortality and radical life extension. We've been in all kinds of events throughout the United States and toured the United States. We've written a book, like I said, called Living Without Death. We've been on TV shows throughout all United States, all throughout United States and the world.
And everything that appears on TV is factual.
For that matter, so we're just spreading the word every way we can.
Yeah, because when I first heard about physical immortality, it was in 1961. And I experienced right then, that's who I am. Something about that really felt good. And the more...
That was like 63 years ago.
That we have moved in this area, the more enlightenment is coming. The more science is becoming aware. Scientists are beginning to search out the body living forever. For me, it's like I am not going to die. And there are some people right now that are not going to see death. And it's pretty amazing. I think there's so much to discover about the physical body. We've always denied the magnificence of what the physical body is, and it is magnificent. But we've so denied it, like it's nothing. From dust it came, to dust it returns, and that
everyone else is in denial. I see hypocrisy on the bingo card.
That's where I think we have really missed something. And so everything that science comes up with, or the medical world, that's going to benefit the physical body, we all need to be partakers of it, because after all, it's what we're about. It's what we're going for. Right now, I'm eating better food than I used to eat. I take vitamins. I exercise. I do a lot of things that are really charge me up to live greater than ever.
Don't curse me with that, Darren Rich. If Disney buys Lego, it's over. For real.
Have this depressed feeling.
If Disney buys Lego, everything I said about things getting better is wrong. H-Baird says, your Undertaker hates this. Cure death with this one weird trick.
About being alive.
Oh, by the way, this Sunday we are doing a patron-only live show. And I think we're going to do some conspiracies that we can't cover normally on stream here. So if you want to see that, as well as gain access to the VODs of the previous patron-only live streams, make sure you join the Patreon at patreon.com/HannahRelive.
I think it's very interesting to be alive. There's so much to learn. There's so much to get in touch with. There's so much fun to be had.
There's more to see than can ever be seen. More to do than can ever be done. The circle of life.
Why can't
Harold Edelman with a 3-stream streak says, did she just say millions now living will never see death? Because I think a certain sect would like to talk about copyright infringement.
We have fun. I mean, most people live a life every day that's pretty, it's not as good as it could be. And we have to keep making it better. We're the creators, we're in charge. We're in charge of what happens to us. And so,
that's great.
Yeah, we're in charge, totally. And if we're not, then we're not going anywhere anyway. No matter who creates what for the physical body, if we're not in charge with that, and don't put it into manifestation, we will just keep fading away.
I think that's a key thing, to get people to really realize that they're in charge of their own lives. They're in charge of their own destiny. In my experience, most people don't realize that, one level or another. And it's powerful when you get in touch with it. You're in charge. We are architects of a new life.
Disney buys Hannah. I am for sale. If the Disney Corporation would like to buy me, I am cheap relative to buying Star Wars. I promise. I promise. Probably an equal return on investment too. Trust me, Disney. Come and give me an offer.
Together. And there's a power of being together. There's a power of working together for that purpose. And that's what we experience too. That's another reason why we're moving out just from our Scottsdale arena to find other people, like we found Neil and others that share this same passion for life. And there's a power in that. There's a power in togetherness, no matter where we come from in our thoughts about radical life extension or what our ideas might be. Sometimes they might be very different. But that doesn't matter. We share that same common purpose, that same common passion for life. And that's why we need to be working together and creating a whole new paradigm.
What an inspiring philosophy. But there are some exceptions to the rule. There are some individuals who just don't have the lifestyle capability of having as much fun. For example, I don't want to point fingers and mention names.
Imagine Disney adding Bionicles to the Avengers. I want to see Thor fight Mata Nui.
But Neil Bandry right here works 23 hours a day, and how can he possibly do all the things he does and be consistent with your philosophy?
Well, we had some fun with him in Scottsdale.
Well, let me chime in here for a minute. You know, I do work round the clock.
Okay. I am done with these people. Very interesting. It really feels like they're just in a cult of self-delusion with other people who don't want to admit that they one day, like everything else that lives, will die. And I know that that's a disturbing, unfortunate thought, and I don't mean to bother anyone. I know some people get really anxious around that thought. Fair enough. But I just also don't think it's healthy to be in complete denial about that. You're not going to be able to face the end of your life if you're lucky enough to get notice and you age and get older. I don't know how you're going to face that if you just deny it. Seems unhealthy. Try this. Except jellyfish. They'll die too eventually. Someday the earth will explode, or the oceans will get too hot, or they'll get eaten. Nothing lives forever.
Arctic treaty.
Even something that's functionally immortal will cease to exist one day.
System, right? And you can't go 60 degrees latitude south. Now, of course, I'm not going to show you the Earth globe, Google Earth, Earth ball spinning in space with curved water or Google Maps. I'm not even going to show you the the Gleason map, because the only map that gives us more information is the extended world map by Vibes of Cosmos. For those of you who know what Vibes of Cosmos is, okay. For those of you who don't know, keep researching. I've made lots of videos. Now, Antarctic Treaty. This place here is definitely bigger than the Antarctic Treaty, because the Antarctic Treaty, the limitations, let's go to the known world. South America, pretty much, in Australia. This is South America. More or less, it's not perfect, but it's better than the globe Earth spinning in space with curved water. South America and Australia and New Zealand. Now, New Zealand will be here. And south from New Zealand, that's it, you can't go. So
well, that's Lemuria. That's a fictional place.
Antarctic Treaty would be very close to the south of New Zealand and super close to the south of Argentina and Chile. And the only excursions that we have to Antarctica...
Wait, is that supposed to be Australia? Do they think Australia's Lemuria?
Are these ones which are like to the first icebergs and like floating shelves of ice close to Argentina and Chile from South America. And of course, there's like more lands here. More lands from South America, definitely more lands between South America and Australia, and from
Okay, no, he thinks that's an entirely different landmass. He thinks there's a continent bigger than Australia off the coast of Asia that no one knows about. It's like right next to Japan. Huh. That's interesting.
From Australia.
How would we miss that? It's honestly on this map, it looks, I mean, in fairness, the further out you go on this map, the bigger the distortion is going to be. Things are going to look bigger on the outside than on the inside. That's the nature of a map like this. But it still kind of looks like it's bigger than, like, the entire continent of Asia. And we just missed it. We just missed it. That's incredible.
Going south, as we would say, in a straight line with ships over water and airplanes and whatever flying vehicles through the air, and from New Zealand, also from South Africa, and from West Africa even. So the Germans we speak about in their UFOs and submarines can be anywhere beyond what we understand as the 60 degrees latitude south. And so again, what's the purpose of this video? After we've learned so much about Vibes of Cosmos and the reality of this world and so much information...
Wait, there's another thing called Pangaea, not Pangea, Pangaea, as in Mother Earth. That's interesting. Overthought says, we know that land doesn't exist because if it did, the British would have colonized it in the... Or, that land doesn't exist because if it did, the British would have colonized it in the 1800s. Very true.
What can we say about the Antarctic Treaty, especially after the videos I've made about the Second World War and the events of the 20th century? Antarctic Treaty, we can call it a neutral formal zone. Neutral. Remember the events after the Second World War and 1947 Operation High Jump, Admiral Byrd, what happened, 1952 the flyover, flying saucers over Washington. Remember that between 1947-48 when Admiral Byrd came back and he said they encountered this brutal force and they were, well, you know, the men of the forbidden people you can't speak about. From 1947 to 1959, it's 12 years. During those 12 years in the world, there was no Antarctic Treaty. So why did the United Nations wait for 12 years? That's the reason. For those of you who have watched the Forbidden documentary, now you understand, let's see some photos. Now you understand the nature of this world and from a political perspective, who are we today? Not just we, the people who are born...
Yeah, this is the guy that believed that swords were secretly electric or whatever.
Born in the 60s, the 70s, 80s, 90s, the 2000s, and in these last 24 years. We are just here in this political system enforced after the Second World War. It's a system of usury and debt slavery. I think it's not forbidden to speak about usury and debt slavery. Nobody likes to be a slave of money and the system of usury, which is interest over money and the creation of money out of money. This is the system we have in the world since 1945, 1947, especially even since 1959. So this neutral zone means that the United Nations here, this political system enforced by force after 1945, which is like we are.
This is a lot. I'm just going to show you the video that I pulled up of his that I think is more telling, and then we'll move on. I'll just let this speak for itself, I think, probably. I think you'll get the vibe.
Please, Germans in your UFO electric flying vehicles after World War II on the skies, please allow me to go with you. Take me to the other side of the Antarctic Treaty ice wall, the Antarctic Circle, the Antarctic Treaty imposed upon this humanity in
He's asking secret Nazis to come pick him up.
1959. This is a serious video, very short. It's no joke, no sarcasm, no
He's a flat earther.
comedy. If I am not allowed to
Flat earth on the bingo card.
go because of whatever reason, I also accept I have military discipline. I don't live in a fantasy. I don't believe in all the nonsense of eternal life. And
if you wanted to send me crackpot ebooks, how could you do that? I don't know. How can one send someone ebooks? I don't have an app for it. So if there's like a way you can send a code, if you can just send it as a PDF, you could send it to me on Discord, I guess. I don't know.
And you follow.
I do audiobooks normally, but if you have an ebook for me, I will accept any way that you can do that.
And aliens and all that stuff. I just want to know, please.
Conspiracy theorist tells on themselves on the bingo card, yes.
If I am allowed to go or if not. And if I'm not allowed to go, I accept whatever reason, even if my DNA is not adequate enough or whatever, but I accept it.
Yikes.
But if I am allowed to go, or if it's possible to go, my desire is, even if I just live on the border and I'm not allowed to mix with the people,
he's literally asking, like, please, secret Antarctic Nazis, even if I'm not pure enough for you, I'll live on the border of your weird Nazi city. Please just take me. This is, like, really sad.
Men and the women.
He's bootlicking fictional Nazis.
There. If I am allowed to mix, I accept the political conditions and everything, because I do not like usury and I don't like private banks and I don't like the system of financial debt slavery.
Thinly veiled anti-Semitism on the bingo card? Thinly veiled anti-Semitism on the bingo card, I think?
I understand everything that happened in the world in the
Yeah, he uses AI on the bingo card.
20th century. I understand the events of WW2. I understand everything that happened from 1945.
He did say overt. He did say banking. He didn't say the thing. It's clear he meant the thing. See, that's what I'm saying. It's barely. It is barely. Yeah, okay. I'll do a poll. Blatant or thinly veiled? The poll will decide, because I don't know if I have the right answer to this. Okay, vote in this poll.
all across the 1950s and 60s and 70s.
We already had thinly veiled anyway.
Until 1980.
I already started the poll, so
89, and then from 1990 until today in the present day. I understand everything. I know. I would just like to live. I am 36 years old, and
yeah, they're dichotomous. It cannot be both of those things.
I just get older by the minute, and it's no like there's no sense in living in this system of usury and debt slavery, and you know how it is, because I'm sure that in the 1940s and 50s and 60s and 70s, you've been with your flying saucers, and you've seen how the world is, and you're probably the ones who maintain a certain type of order in this world from 1945 until today. But like I said, I know there's been like real contacts across history. Even if it's just like for 1 minute, it doesn't matter. Like I'm not scared or anything. I feel
like you gotta come out and say it for it to be overt. I would tend to agree. Thin wins, which we already had, but if you didn't mark it off, thinly veiled anti-Semitism.
Even if it means to clean toilets or like to do physical work.
He's literally asking to go be the bottom rung on a Nazi society. That's sick shit. Like, I don't know how to sugarcoat this. This is just messed up.
I don't care. I don't mind. I do what I am capable of doing, and I use my limited talents, and I learn, and I get re-educated.
He's saying, I'll get re-educated.
I'll
go to your Nazi re-education camp, he says. What the fuck?
I would just like to not live the rest of my life in this usury system and private banks and financial debt slavery, and with no purpose in life. So, of course, I'm not asking. I am begging. Okay, so I know sometimes when I speak, my voice and my character sound, because I have like this boiling blood in me and passion. I am begging on my knees. It's just I can't get on my knees right now because the camera is here, and I can't. If I get on my knees,
yeah, definitely conspiracy theorists tell us on themselves.
The camera doesn't show my face anymore. And if I'm not allowed, that's fine. I can continue living in this system until the day I die. But I would really enjoy to go beyond and stay there and live in that system with no usury and no debt slavery and in freedom and everything else. And I didn't say anything.
Do you think the Nazis didn't have loans?
Bad. I hope I didn't say anything bad against the terms and conditions of YouTube. I'm fine. I just want to go on the other side, beyond the Antarctic Treaty, and just live, just have a normal human life, and just be.
Yeah, it doesn't understand capitalism is a problem on the bingo card.
Be happy and help society to be happy and contribute to society. I know the principles of the NSDAP. I think it's NSDAP in English. I'm not sure if that's the same in German. Yeah, I think it's in NSDAP.
There's a different word for it in English.
And I know the H-man and what he did and everything else. I would just like to go.
He just said, I know about Hitler and everything he did. I would still like to go. Yikes. How many times can you say yikes? We'll just keep it going. We'll finish it soon.
All my life in my 20s and my 30s now, useless. And because I'm not going to go to a bank.
Yes, believe sci-fi tech exists for the flying saucer stuff.
To get a mortgage, I'm not going to get married and have the same type of life where everybody is disgusted and they get depressed. And then when they reach the age of 50 something, they have regrets of what they did, and then it's too late because you're too old. And I know this because I worked on a cruise ship, and people between the age of 55 and 85, they're full of regrets, and this system is all about usury and money and debt slavery and materialism. I just want to live in a system that you created, you know who you are, I've read, I know the forbidden documentaries, I've read the articles, I know everything. I would just love to have at least one contact and like a real
What percentage of his day is just jerking it to pictures of blonde women?
contact. And if I have to do something before, if I have to be quarantined for like a year to prove myself, it's fine. I accept any type of like measures as long as I can prove myself. I hope, and I really hope that this video would be seen, because you have the technology, they have the technology, like way superior technology to be in control of everything, and to give orders, and to be kind and do good and all that stuff. It's so sad that you know everything and you still have to live like in this prison. And there's nothing you can do to escape it, and there's nothing, even like if there would be a way to just know where you have to go, and then you go there, and then you get contacted, and then you get subjected to the interview to see that you're a proper human being, and if you get accepted, you get accepted. And if you don't get accepted, they give you the reason why they can't accept you, and that's fine. But at least I know. But just knowing all the stuff and knowing the real things and not being able to have at least one contact, that really is sad. Anyway, short video on my side. I don't care what people think. Life is short. Like, I'm 36 years old and I lost almost all my hair. And I still have to live in this usury system of financial debt, slavery, and private banking. See you in the next video.
That's one of the saddest and most pathetic videos I've ever seen on this show. Wow. That was a man literally begging for Nazis to come save him. Jesus Christ, in a handbasket. That was bad. Okay, I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick. So, chill out here for a minute. Chair, we'll do a bingo check when I come back. While I'm gone, Chair will tell you about Star Trek short treks, including Q&A and The Trouble with Edward. Probably my favorite one. Be right back. I am back. Let's take a look at the bingo card. Yeah, short treks are on disc. I don't know if it's still in print. I think it was a relatively limited run just because it's so niche. But yeah, they were on Blu-ray for a while, and I was lucky enough to get some. Or get it. Both seasons. Alright, let's get what we need on the bingo card. We have... Uses AI, QAnon referenced, Flat Earth... Staggering levels of hypocrisy, vibes-based conspiracy, believe sci-fi technology exists. Do we have clones? I know we had giants. False flag. Giants. Doesn't understand their problem is capitalism. Word salad. No, not mountain was a giant tree. It's the other thing. It's rock, whatever, was a person. I'll find it. Thinly veiled anti-Semitism, satanic. Chemtrails. The Matrix. Conspiracy theorist tells on themselves, big time for the Nazi guy. Illuminati, Freemasons, Cabal. Anything else? Am I missing anything? Bueller, Bueller, Bueller. Gina's dance is so nice. Too bad she's so faded. No, idiot has to say they're a genius. Idiot says they're a genius. Yep, incorrect word origin is evidence. Let me find that. There we go. That rock tree mountain was a human. I'll count Nephilim. They're half human. I think that's it. Did Cat reference They Live? You referenced The Matrix for sure. Can anyone else corroborate that before I mark it? Yes, no, maybe so. Anyone? Sorry, I know it takes a minute from the time I ask something for you guys to type or whatever, so... There needs to be a conspiracy that humans are secretly rocks. Shh. Like we're just full of carbon or something. Weirdos. You don't remember it? Okay, I don't know if anyone else remembers it. We'll fix it if someone else does, but I don't think so. I know she referenced The Matrix. What is this one about? Oh, fun! This is another one where a conspiracy theory asks ChatGPT something and decide that it's significant. Gotta love that. ChatGPT's making my job a lot easier.
GPT to imagine it was the leader. I asked ChatGPT to imagine it was the leader of the fallen angels in Enoch, and I asked it, how would you deceive the world?
I asked a word calculator to calculate how it would do evil things, and then it told me evil things it would do. I caught on to their plan. Jeez.
Listen to this. Can you repeat everything you just said about the fallen angels?
Sure. As the leader of the fallen angels, I'd focus on subtlety and long-term strategy. First, I'd instruct my team to embed...
One sec, I gotta make this.
...embed ourselves within influential institutions, such as religious, educational, and political organizations. The goal would be to influence these institutions from within, gradually shifting their teachings and policies to subtly undermine traditional beliefs.
What he doesn't understand is what he's doing is he's asking a word calculator that is basically a complicated predictive text program, a loaded conspiratorial question, and then it's pumping out an answer from other conspiracy theorists. If you ask it a question where it's going to pull predictive text from conspiracy sources, it's going to output conspiracy nonsense, which is what it's doing. So basically, conspiracy theorists are now at a point where they can have a feedback loop of their own ideas fed back to them by AI chat programs, and they think it's revelatory instead of understanding they're talking to their own reflection. They're talking to a digital mirror.
Next, I direct efforts to promote ideas and philosophies that encourage doubt and skepticism about divine authority. We need to ensure that these ideas are presented as progressive and rational, making them appealing and difficult to oppose. This includes supporting scientific theories that can be interpreted in ways that exclude or diminish the role of a deity. Additionally, I'd recommend using media and entertainment to gradually normalize secular and materialistic views. By portraying these perspectives as sophisticated and enlightened, we can shape public perception and make traditional beliefs seem outdated or naive. Throughout this process...
By the way, that's assuming he even actually used ChatGPT and didn't just write this himself and lie. Could just be a lie. That's always a possibility.
It would be crucial to stay hidden and work behind the scenes. We need to avoid direct confrontation and
uses AI on the bingo card, of course.
Instead, foster an environment where disbelief and skepticism grow naturally over time. To add more detail, the first step would involve carefully selecting individuals who are influential in these institutions, ensuring they have the ability to sway public opinion or policy decisions. Over time...
Because this doesn't sound like a digital voice, but he asked at the beginning, like, can you repeat what you said? But it's clearly someone doing a voiceover. This doesn't sound like even an AI-generated voice. This sounds like just someone doing a voiceover with a slight digital filter put over it.
These individuals would subtly introduce and advocate for ideas...
It has too much correct emotion, it has too much correct intonation, and AI voices get that wrong.
That diminish
even, like, good ones.
The role of religion. In educational settings, we push for curricula that emphasize secularism and skepticism, framing them as objective and scientific. In politics, we'd support policies that promote...
Yeah, I don't know what the ums are.
Secular governance.
Because ChatGPT doesn't say... Is it the ChatGPT voice? Why does it say ChatGPT doesn't say
Ensuring that religious perspectives are marginalized in public discourse. In the media, we strategically promote content that glorifies secular lifestyles and criticizes traditional religious values. This would involve producing films, TV shows, and news articles that subtly undermine religious
belief. The new voice GPT does say That's funny. Is it supposed to sound more natural? Because it really doesn't.
While normalizing secularism by maintaining
Third Rock from the Sun is one of his examples.
Maintaining a low profile and focusing on gradual...
a TV show movie that's popular is Evil on the bingo card.
Incremental change. We'd work to create a cultural shift that slowly erodes the influence of religion without provoking overt resistance.
Isn't that exactly what is going on in the world through all history?
Isn't this what's going on? Predictive text bot!
It does seem like there have been various historical and cultural shifts that align with some of these strategies. Throughout history, we've seen changes in education, media, and politics that reflect growing secularism and skepticism about traditional religious beliefs. Whether
that doesn't mean it's intentional!
These changes are due to deliberate efforts or broader societal trends is a topic of ongoing debate. The evolution of thought...
I fucking hate ChatGPT. What OpenAI has wrought on the world is genuinely fucking awful, and they should feel bad.
And cultural values is complex with many factors influencing it over time.
Who is to thank for the birth of atheism?
The development of atheism is a result of many contributors across history. Ancient Greek philosophers like Diagoras of Melos and Epicurus questioned traditional beliefs, while Enlightenment thinkers like Voltaire and David Hume furthered skepticism. In the modern era, figures like Friedrich Nietzsche and Karl Marx made significant contributions by critiquing religion.
Oh no, the mention of Marx is gonna make him lose his fucking mind.
And proposing secular alternatives.
Whoa! The fuck is the song for?
Actually, this photo I took of it. Notice, I'm going to prove that the moon is a projection in our realm with this photo I took of it. Notice
Oh, it just goes into this suddenly. Okay.
Top right.
Lennon Cat says, one way to spot AI voices is to listen to the breaks between sentences. The natural sounding voices are getting really good at mimicking in-sentence intonation, but they're still struggling between sentence transitions. Okay, I'll keep an ear out. Freyline says, both of the boxers caught up in the, quote, gender controversy are going to the final round to fight for gold. Oh boy! Great. I'm sure the right-wing media is gonna love that shit.
Right corner, there is actually skydivers in this photo. Now, you think of it like this. You've heard that saying of chasing rainbows? How the closer you get to the rainbow, the further away it gets. It just moves as you move. Now, I've actually Googled that. And Google basically tells me that the rainbow moves away as you move because it's not a physical object in the sky. It's an illusion caused by refraction. Now, we've got to think of this, right? If
Doesn't understand how cameras work? Sure.
we were those skydivers next to the moon here, would we be seeing the moon this big? No, of course not, right? So it's just interesting to me. We zoom in on the moon and it gets bigger at a certain rate, but then if we were the skydivers, the moon wouldn't start as big as you see it here.
You're using a lens. You're changing the focal length of the lens. Augie Boo with a bingo. Can I see your bingo card and I'll check it for you?
So check this out, guys. Could thunder possibly be proof of us living under a dome or firmament?
No.
Check this video out.
3, 2, 1.
Thunder echoing doesn't require being under a dome.
That sounds...
Take a look at this bingo card. Hey, Twelpy, how you doing? Check your bingo card real quick, Augie Boo, and we'll see if you are today's winner. Giants, the Matrix, conspiracy theorist tells them themselves, doesn't understand how cameras work, and satanic. You do indeed win. So congrats, Augie. Let me gift you your sub real quick. That is our official bingo winner for today. We will continue playing for fun, of course, but that is the gift sub of this tinfoil stream. So congrats, Augie Boo. Profane Priestess says, thunder is the rapid heating and expansion of air as lightning passes through it. Yes, but they're talking specifically about the echo of how it will kind of reverberate.
Now you can't lie, that sounded exactly like thunder. Now,
this is seriously how conspiracy theorists work. They will take a superficial similarity and decide that that superficial similarity means that the phenomena are the same. Like, regardless of all the other factors that you could potentially control for, they go, okay, there's this one superficial thing that they share, therefore, they're the same thing. That is fallacious.
now compare that to actual thunder and lightning. Now for the echo to occur, there has to be a surface to bounce off of back to the listener. And what that surface is, well, is none other than God's firmament, or
how about the ground or any of the other surfaces? Because there's a lot of surfaces on the earth.
dome that is mentioned all
Well, the atmosphere could be too.
throughout the Bible. With the
I
sun,
genuinely
moon,
don't know, but it's not this.
and stars
Kingdom Reborn, thanks for 38 months. How you doing?
within the firmament.
So in this first experiment, the guy took a 4-foot mirror and placed it at the opposite side of the reservoir. The distance between the camera and the mirror was 6.3 miles. The guy used a Nikon P900 camera, and the camera height was 32 inches. The mirror is clearly visible. I thought it should be under curvature. How is that possible?
Are you using the 3 inches per mile or per mile squared thing? Because that's incorrect.
So, in the second experiment, the guy had his wife hold a spotlight directly on top of the bank on the other side of the body of water. The spotlight was at water level. The guy had his camera 2.54 feet above the water. The distance between the spotlight and the camera was a total of 7.53 miles. The spotlight should have been 21 feet under curvature. But
is the elevation the same at both ends? Did they check that?
If you pay attention, he can see the whole spotlight flashing away on the other side of the bank. I don't believe that light curves. Just random.
You don't believe that light curves? How do you think glasses work? What? What? What do you mean you don't believe light curves? What do you mean? Hey, Robo Twilight.
He decides to refract multiple times over a curving horizon for no apparent reason, with nothing affecting it.
The atmosphere. What? I'm moving on. And we're moving right along. Footloose and fancy free. Time for Wretched Recess. Our favorite.
Here's some photos of some dolls. Just, just dolls. And none of them can see. Not a single one of these plastic dolls with painted on eyes and eyeballs can actually see.
Yeah, they're also not princesses. They're hunks of plastic. What's your point?
We understand that, right? And none of these dolls actually has a...
This is going to be ableist, by the way. Ableism warning.
A functioning brain inside of these plastic heads. Is that something everybody understands or no?
Yeah.
That they don't actually have a brain in the plastic head on this toy. Let's go over quickly just a couple definitions. Inanimate means you're not alive, means an object isn't alive.
Correct.
Inanimate, it means not alive. So, objects, toys, aren't...
When you see what she's actually complaining about, it's going to click and you're going to be pissed off at how much of a shitty person she is for not understanding the point of the thing she's about to complain about.
Really alive. Okay, are we on the same page? Same page? Or no? Some people are struggling, so... Oh, I like that. Showing no sign of life. Lifeless. Say it with me. Lifeless. So if dolls that are plastic with painted on eyes can't see, how in the hell can you have a blind doll?
Hunks of plastic also can't be stewardesses, or doctors, or vampires. But we imbue character into these inanimate objects through the stories we tell about them to children as playthings for role play, for, like, how kids play with dolls. Does she genuinely not get this and why it's important to have, like, you know, people who are different, not all the same, have a diversity of, like, people and experiences represented through the stories we tell kids, through the toys we give them? Because I feel like that's pretty easy to understand if you know what a doll is, right?
There's no such thing as a seeing doll.
Okay, there's no such thing as a girl doll or a boy doll. They're all hunks of plastic. But we make them and represent them, or make them to represent certain ideas, to represent certain tropes, to represent certain, like, people. Lennon Cat says, I do call bullshit on Blind Barbie's immaculate makeup, however. I'm not okay with that joke. I shouldn't have repeated that.
So there's no
People
such
who don't see can put on their own makeup.
thing as a blind doll. Could this be an agenda, maybe?
What's the agenda? What? The agenda to be more inclusive to differently abled children.
Essentially, if you want to get technical, like, every doll is blind. They can't see. So why is Mattel making a blind doll? Some of you need a refresher of what using your imagination is. Imaginative play, also known as pretend play.
Yes, and the things that you give children to play with are like when you're at an improv show and people yell out suggestions. It's a general idea. It also has the cane and I imagine other, like, what are they called? Accessories. I'm not a big doll person, sorry. I imagine they have other accessories that go with that too, and it's important because there are plenty of dolls that are clearly meant to be people that are sighted. That's virtually every doll that exists, but this one comes with the story, the premise that this character that is represented in this doll does not see, is legally blind, which is important for children, sighted and non-sighted, to know that there are people out there either like them or not like them, and that's okay.
Is to role play or make believe play. That's a type of play where children...
Oh, her condescending voice, too. Her intentional condescension is so infuriating on this topic. By the way, this gets worse. This gets worse. Just throwing that out there.
Or adults can play.
Bittergrin says, well, then no one needs any dolls if we're just going to make everything up in our heads.
And use their imagination to create and act out different scenarios and roles. Oh, does that mean I can take any toy I have? Okay, sorry about the lighting. That means I can take this fabulous sequin toy and say it's a rocket scientist. Or it's, I can say it's blind. I can say anything I want because I'm using my imagination.
You can. And the people who made that other doll that you're complaining about did that with the doll they made.
I don't have to go to the store and buy something that's marketed as blind, that's essentially just a doll holding a stick. It isn't really blind. I don't think people understand that. So I have to make this video.
She's terrible. She's an awful person. I hate to be this judgy. And we had a literal Nazi on earlier who was also a terrible person, but, like, this is up there. This is bad.
Let me partake for just a moment.
Don't say that, Mr. Blast. That's also ableist. Not cool.
In some imaginative play, I found a pen and I can pretend it's a walking stick and I can give it to my toy and I'm using my imagination and voila, blind sequin dog toy has a walking stick and I can walk it around and pretend like it's, blind and help it. There's nothing wrong with imagining that. And there would be nothing wrong with a child imagining that they're walking around,
Just give kids potatoes instead of dolls? You just invented Mr. Potato Head. Congrats.
A doll with vision problems. But there is a problem with Mattel marketing a specific blind Barbie that's just a regular looking Barbie with a walking stick. And it's not made for blind kids, guys. Blind people and children?
Yes. Or just people who want this? Is she incapable of understanding that there are people who want different kinds of dolls, or their kid might be interested in having this kind of doll? I don't understand. Mattel comes out with infinite numbers of Barbies a year. There are Barbie collectors who go out of their way. And they collect these things and get specific ones from specific lines. Does she not know this? I only know this because I'm a kind of collector, of course, of movies and stuff. Hannah mentions Blu-rays on the bingo card. But when you're in collector communities, sometimes you get recommended stuff from other people's collector communities. And sometimes I see Barbie collectors. And holy shit, the Barbie collectors are honed in on their interest. So yeah, there's a lot of Barbies.
Can't see their toys, okay? A blind kid doesn't know the difference between, here's a regular doll, Timmy, but here's a blind doll,
Overruled,
Timmy,
Spokane
and
Dog
all
Man.
of a sudden
At least
that's
for right
more
now.
special. In
We're not
your
going to watch this whole video.
Sick, twisted minds. But Mattel didn't stop at blind Barbie. Oh no, okay? Recently, they came out with a darker skin, Down syndrome Barbie.
And that's where we'll stop. I think you probably know where that's going. So thanks, Wretched Recess, for living up to your name and being a wretched, terrible person. Let's see what we're gonna do next. Oh yeah, that video goes on for another 12 minutes, so you can imagine.
Questions continue of Atlantis. Plato's for
Atlantis on the bingo card.
For more than 2,000 years, scholars of antiquity have been puzzling over Plato's descriptions of the island nation and empire of Atlantis.
If I was Plato, I'd be so upset about the Atlantis thing. You tell a story that's a clear metaphor, that's clearly an allegory, and then for thousands and thousands of years, there's still weirdos out there being like, how do we find Atlantis? Story, guys. It wasn't ever meant to be that. It'd be like trying to find the farm from Animal Farm. You're missing the point. It'd be like trying to find the kids trapped on the island in Lord of the Flies. These are allegorical. They're not real events.
Atlantis. Questions continue to fascinate researchers and explorers to this day. Was Atlantis a real place, or
No, that's not even a question.
merely a literary device,
Yep,
a
that
warning
one.
against pride and hubris. How could a civilization with the strength to maintain a maritime empire and to threaten Greece's security have simply disappeared? Why is there no mention of Atlantis in any ancient text?
Curious. How might this be solved? Why is there no historical documents purporting Atlantis to be a real place?
Other than Plato's. Where was this island capital located? And what could possibly obliterate this famed nation, as Plato asserted?
Their hubris! Their hubris. It's a story.
Within a night and a day. These questions have taken geological researchers all around the
Geological researchers.
world, from Morocco to Indonesia, from Bolivia to the North Sea, from the Mediterranean to the Sahara, all in search of Atlantis. Still, the majority of commentators regard Plato's description as nothing more than literary fiction, a salutary tale against national pride and military hubris.
It's somehow more annoying to me that they're bringing it up as the actual fact. And then they're just like, okay, let's brush past that. Now let's get into the crazy stuff.
Plato certainly uses fiction in his writings. Nobody takes his dialogues as a verbatim recollection of an actual conversation. But Plato was real, and his subject Socrates was real.
Yes, authors tend to be real even when their creations are not. Correct. Stan Lee is real, was real, doesn't mean Spider-Man's real, right?
Plato's skill and passion in getting across Socrates' teaching is real. And in his dialogues, Plato certainly appeals to events in real-world history. Now, when we come to his...
Cocaine Dog Man, do you believe Atlantis was real? You have to be honest so we can mark off a bingo space, if you are.
long description of Atlantis in Timaeus and Critias, to me, it just doesn't bear the marks of pure fiction. Plato's references to higher beings, or gods, and to beings who are hybrids of gods and humans, are taken by some to be evidence that his...
Oh good, aliens. Bittergrin says, oh my god, someone should go find that cave where all those poor people are chained up watching shadows. I know, right?
Atlantean narratives are...
Whoever chained them up's a real dick.
Pure fiction. Yet we find similar references in the texts of other ancient cultures who pepper their ancient histories with mention of similar entities. Many people think of Plato's description of Atlantis as if he's describing some kind of a utopia, but that's really not the case. Atlantis has an...
Repeat, I asked, do you believe in Atlantis? It's important that you be honest, so I can mark off a bingo space if you do. If not, it's fine, but if you do, I need to know so we can mark off conspiracy theorist in chat on the bingo card.
Army. It goes to war. It was, he said, an enemy of prehistoric Athens, but that Athens defeated it. So it's not a utopia. And Plato's descriptions of it are so full of details that have nothing to do with advancing a story of national hubris or pride comes before a fall, which is often how people interpret Atlantis when they want to say it is a fiction. Now, Plato said that this information had been obtained from ancient Egyptian priests who had relayed the information to an ancient Greek legislator called Solon. And
trust me, bro, some ancient Egyptians told this guy Solon, and Solon totes told me.
Once again, that is a real person in real history. For me,
hey,
those are all details.
Spider-Man comics mention New York City, which is a real place. Sometimes they even mention real people. Spider-Man met Barack Obama once. That doesn't mean that Latveria's real. That doesn't mean that, what is it called? The dinosaur land? Fuck. The wildlands? Doesn't mean they're real. Do you see what I'm saying?
That point to Atlantis being a real culture in real-world history.
Savage land, thank you.
What really sparked the modern quest for Plato's Atlantis was the discovery in 1868 of the ancient and mythical city of Troy. For centuries, the academic consensus was that Troy was the literary creation of Homer.
That's awesome. As soon as you guys find Atlantis, give me a call and I'll apologize.
A Greek author who predated Plato.
Cocaine Dogman says no, but Troy was known by five more popular names, and the Greeks were pretty much the only ones who called it Troy. I think that fact makes folks think the other lands may be Atlantis, just misnamed. I think that's a stretch, but whatever.
By at least 500 years. In his work The Iliad, Homer details the Trojan War and the 10-year siege on the city of Troy. Most scholars read these works as pure fiction, yet a few commentators quietly wondered if the fiction might be threaded through with real history of real places and real-world events. The wide consensus that Troy was no more than fiction was dealt a fatal blow when in 1868, a 46-year-old German archaeologist, Heinrich Schliemann, discovered the mythical city of Troy.
The way Heinrich Schliemann set about locating Troy was simply to make a checklist from all the geographic markers that Homer had.
Troy existing doesn't mean the Trojan horse was real. I want it to be real, though. What a fun story. Hey guys, we're bringing you this horse, this big wooden horse. There's no reason. We just want to be friends. Who falls for that? Haven't they heard the story of the Trojan horse? Idiots. Jitara says, as someone who's from beyond the ice wall, my ancestors fought against the vile beast known as Scorpzilla. Even they did not recount any city like Atlantis. It was impossible to build cities that advanced and large during those times. Trey says, oh, he found it, but he destroyed so much of it. Also, he was a Nazi.
Placed in his narratives and used them as a guide to get him to the location. That's the discovery that's given energy to today's explorers to do the same with Atlantis in Plato's writing. Identify all the geographic and geological markers in Plato's text, and then follow the clues.
I thought Achilles was dipped in the river Styx, except for his heel.
And we'll meet in Atlantis.
One of the most distinctive geological markers of Atlantis was the structure of the port city. Looking across Atlantis from a height, one would see a central island surrounded by concentric circles of land.
The Imperial City. I can see the white gold tower from here.
And separated by seawater. The circles of land were connected by a bridge, and the outer moat allowed a passage south to the Atlantic.
Achilles didn't exist, fun fact. Then who named my tendon?
Geologists have identified this as the natural shape of an island formed by an undersea volcanic eruption, solidified and then modified by erosion. The remains of one such structure can be found in the Aegean Sea at the Greek island of Santorini, home to the ancient Minoan culture. In 1913 and 1917, K.T. Frost and E.S. Balch proposed that the story of Atlantis and its catastrophic demise might relate to the ancient history of the Minoan civilization on Santorini. Archaeological searches in the region have demonstrated that the ancient Minoan culture was advanced in civil engineering, with plumbing, airflow management, multi-story buildings, and earthquake-resistant design. Santorini may well have been home to a maritime empire with the force to pit itself against ancient mainland Greece, which, according to Plato,
Deep Space Nine is Atlantis? I don't understand. It wasn't as old as the Atlantis of Plato. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna move on. This guy's voice is making me sleepy. 7 signs to know a woman was sent by the devil. This practical advice.
What's up, family? Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings, Mark the Messenger. We're back in our video, man. This one's gonna be about 7 signs a woman was sent by the devil to destroy you, man. And y'all know when I make these videos, I always start just top to bottom. But as I was writing the 7th sign, I'm like, oh shoot, like the Holy Spirit was speaking. And I'm gonna say number 7 first.
I like when people are just like have a lot of creative juices and they go, the Holy Spirit was really speaking to me. No, that's your brain. That's your brain. Sorry. Chitara says, this is one of the few times where ancient knowledge is superior to modern knowledge. Ancient people back then knew that the story of Atlantis was just a story that Plato was using as a metaphor, yet people today insist it was a real place. Funny how time will do that. Trey says, in all seriousness, although he did discover it because he was a Nazi, he thought the Trojans were the secret Aryan world leaders. So when he found the ruins, he was like, oh, there isn't nearly enough gold here. So he had his people dig these massive 40-foot deep trenches through the ruins of Troy until he found these gold pieces that had swastikas on it, and he was like, yep, this is proof this must be the real city of Troy under this other fake city of Troy. It's to trick ya. The mud flood.
Because everybody has to know this, man. Every single day, man, spiritual warfare. Every single day. Okay, now the devil's not bothering those who are living in sin, who are in rebellion against God, living a disobedient lifestyle. So you don't have to worry about that if you're, if you're on the devil's army. But if you're, walking with God, walking that straight and narrow path, best believe he's going to send agents your way, agents of Satan. Okay, so number 7, I'll really just say number 1. I don't want to have to erase it all and stuff, so whatever.
Trey says, hey, Hannah, I found out at least 2 friends are falling down the Tartaria rabbit hole. I'm trying really hard to pull them out. Thanks to you. Wish me luck. Good luck. Phyllis Filler says, these conspiracists are too cowardly to make videos about real issues, like how gay ancient peoples were with suggestively angled and framed shots of statues and practically pornographic vases. Get good. Get horny on Hellenistic Maine.
So after the mission is sent, because best believe, when someone is sent by the devil, guys, someone sent them in the spiritual realm, whatever, a handler. Okay, best believe, guys, there's high-ranking angels and high-ranking demons. So somebody sent...
The demons sent me to your YouTube and Twitch feeds in order to convince you that Atlantis wasn't real. I don't get paid well enough for this shit.
That agent your way. It's not by mistake. You guys don't meet by coincidence. No, no, no. You were targeted in the spiritual realm and it manifests in the physical. Okay, so after the mission she was set on by Satan is completed, she will disappear from your life. Oh my goodness, bro. This is facts. That's why I had to put this number 1. I mean, I put it number 7 on accident. It was the last thing that popped in my head. But you have to know this, okay? So if someone is sent by the devil, now this is going to correlate with everything I'm saying right after this, okay? But someone just disappears from after she's down. What you guys may ask, what's the mission she was sent on? Now,
are you talking about your ex? You think that if you don't see your ex again after you break up, she was sent by the devil? Man, maybe she just doesn't want to see you. Like, what? What are you talking about?
Think about it. Maybe you guys fell into lust. You guys fell into sin. Maybe y'all started...
if you at least get overtime pay from the demons? Nah. They just made me grow boobs. It was worth it, but, it is what it is.
An alcohol problem, or
I gotta keep going until I hit C cups.
If you had, maybe y'all started, smoking the problem, whatever, right? Y'all started doing that, right? And then now she just completely disappears, but now you're still on that sin. And before she came into your life, you wasn't doing that no more. You was on semen retention. You was fasting. You was praying. Your spirit was...
Semen retention. Very legitimate practice. Toreador says, do you know that Ocean Gate, the sub full of rich people that imploded, happened on June 18th, 2023, not June 18th, 2024. It was over a year ago. Oh my god, where's my time going?
You were strong. The minute she leaves, now you feel weak. Now you're back into sin. That's what Satan sent her for.
Oh no, I did a big cum. Now I'm working with Satan?
To do, to get you to get out of the narrow path, man. This is not a coincidence, guys. Nothing is a coincidence. This is spiritual warfare. So this is what these agents do. They get you to go back into your old ways. Okay, so best believe, after the mission she was sent on by Satan, she'll complete, because there's no need for her to be in your life no more. What she was sent for is to get you to go back to your vomit, get you to go back into sin, Now she's, you know, saying her to another man.
I do like the idea of just hand job demons that just find you when you do too much semen retention, and they're like, I gotta get that cum! I gotta get that cum! Satan's like, that guy's balls are so full. We need to send a demon stat. I know I'm basically describing succubuses, but let's pretend I invented that.
You gave your heart, you gave your soul. You wanted to marry this woman, or maybe you did. Okay, and now she just completely disappears. Now she's doing whatever mission to the next man. I mean, dude, you can't make this up, bro. You can't make this up. So be very, even the Bible says to guard your heart, for out of all of it are the issues of life. Okay, that's in Proverbs chapter 4. Okay, so don't be so quick. You know, now you don't want to live a life in paranoia, you know.
I think you're beyond that point, sir. You think the devil is sending harlots to your house to make you trip up on your nofap. I don't know how to deal with that level of delusion. We've had some whoppers today, huh? What's going on today? Why did I find so many very fringe people today?
Nothing like that. So, you know, you just got to use your discernment. Have the Holy Spirit discern.
I did invent that if the Temple of Paul has demonology aspect. Did I? Lennon Cat says, you can't make this up, but I'm sure gonna try.
Who's coming into your life and who's not, all right? So that's number 1, number 7, whatever, right? Number 2, or I'm just gonna say number
1, number 7, they're basically the same. Whatever.
One's kind of
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Like I said, guys, I didn't want to have to erase it all, but this had to be said, guys. Okay, because remember, not everybody who comes into your life, guys, is sent by God. Absolutely. Now, I might make a video, 7 signs a woman is sent by God. I'll probably do that sometime next week, whatever. All right, but the next thing up, okay, is flattery. Okay, it says flattery. So be careful who you share your secrets and business with. Remember the book of Judges, Samson and Delilah. Okay, Samson told Delilah what he wasn't supposed to. He was sharing his business. No, his strength came in his locks. And, you know, Delilah kept on tempting him. Delilah kept on, you know, flattering him to tell him what the secret was. And he folded. Okay, he was weak. And you got to keep in mind, man, Samson was a...
Toreador says 7 of 1, 0.58333333333333 dozen of another.
Strongest man.
Math jokes.
In the Bible, bruh. The strongest man. And it was a woman. It was a devil, because Delilah was Satan's daughter. Oh, yeah. Delilah was of the fallen ones. Best.
I don't remember that from the Bible. At what point do they say Delilah's related to the devil?
Best believe. You know, now we talk about Jezebel. Now, Jezebel, someone with the Jezebel spirit, they could be delivered. Okay? They could be set free from the witchcraft. But Delilah, that's Satan's daughter, bro. You got to think about it. Judas turning Yahshua, turning Jesus Christ, right? For money. What did Delilah do? Turn in her lover for money. Same thing. For money, the love of money. So, and we all know the Bible says that Judas was a devil. So Delilah was a devil too. Facts, man. I'm telling you guys. Facts. So, and also,
Benigami says, nothing matters unless it proves me right, says every conspiracy theorist and fundamentalist Christian.
A woman could compliment you. A woman could say you're cute, you're handsome, you look good, whatever, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Use your discernment. When it's flattery for her to...
Again, vibes. Just vibes. Just your vibes are all you need to these people. Toreador says, so he's saying Judas and Jesus were humping? One can hope.
Gain something over you. You know, this is what they do, bro. It's flattery. You gotta be...
Yeah, I don't understand the hate for Judas. If you think that Jesus needed to be martyred in order to, like, do the whole, like, washing away sins thing, Judas did exactly what he was supposed to do in a predeterminate fashion. Any Calvinists in the house? Like, but seriously, like, he had to, right?
Very cautious. Like I said, now, you don't want to be paranoid. If a woman's complimenting you, that's cool. But don't let that get to your head. Because we live in today in a feminist culture where women are very wise. Okay, they're very smart. They may play dumb, but trust and believe, guys, women are very wise. So they use their wisdom for evil, just like Satan. Satan is wise too. The Bible says to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Okay, but Satan used his wisdom to lure in Eve, to deceive Eve, to be evil.
Not how women work on the bingo card.
Okay, women today are doing that too. They had the wisdom to do good, but they're going to choose evil. Okay, so you got to be very cautious, man. A lot of these women, they're very wise, but they're going to use their wisdom for evil, to lure you in, to get you to get soul tie with them. Okay, because a soul tie isn't just formed through, it's not only just formed through having intercourse with someone. You talking to the phone with someone a couple hours a day. You texting them every single day. You're going to be thinking about this person.
Fellas, is it sinful to have a crush on someone who likes you?
You know, are y'all hanging out, this and that, right? So you gotta be cautious. Now, of course, the strongest form of a soul tie is through having intercourse. But you just gotta be very cautious, guys, of the flattery. This is what they do, man. This is what they do. Number 2 is your spirit and soul will feel drained around her. Okay, the Holy Spirit will always warn you. Okay, and usually when it starts to feel drained, it's not in the beginning, because in the beginning you're happy. The flattery, she's very manipulating. She's giving you what you want. She's maybe buying you things, and that's also a form of flattery too. A woman just giving you gifts. You're not even asking for it. So you got to be very cautious for these things, guys. In the beginning, you're not going to feel drained. Now you're gonna see the signs. God will always show you the signs of someone who's in your life, whether they're good or evil. Okay, you're gonna see the signs, but best believe, guys, towards like the middle, towards like the end of the relationship or friendship or whatever. Okay, you gotta best believe, man, your soul and your spirit are gonna start to feel drained around her. She may not even talk, just her presence, because now your consciousness is awakened. You can see the spirit behind the individual. You can see the evil spirit. You can see the demon, okay, behind that individual. So please keep that in mind, man. Don't ignore your spirit. Don't ignore the Holy Spirit warnings, man. You're gonna start to feel drained around her. All right, number 3 is she manipulates you to give your strength into her. Okay, Proverbs chapter 31, verse 3 talks about,
what does that mean?
You're not supposed to give your strength to a woman. Seems like today, guys, a lot of men are doing this today. A woman called the real man, a man who's easily manipulated by her.
What?
Man who
He's just trying to use the Bible to call men simps.
Does her so many favors and just a total simp, a total beta male.
Oh my god, he does. Okay, he's gonna do both. Never mind. I thought he was trying to be coy about it. No, he just... Alright, here we are.
Woman is gonna call, Eve today is gonna call that a real man, even though he's just being used. So that's, like I said, guys, all part of the manipulation. You being a sucker, you being a simp. Okay, that's wicked. In the eyes of the Most High, guys, being a simp is wicked. Okay, that's a weak man. All right, so when just like Samson and Delilah, Delilah used flattery, but she also used manipulation. Remember, manipulation is a form of witchcraft. Make no mistake about it. Okay, she used manipulation to get into Samson's head to tell her the secrets, or for him to tell her the secrets. Okay, so his strength was lost, and when you lose your strength to a woman, guys, you're taken out. You're gonna end up like Samson in a deathbed, man. This is what's gonna happen to you, spirit.
Samson didn't wind up in a deathbed. Samson died bringing pillars down upon himself and the Philistines. Fun fact.
Spiritually, so that's what happened, guys. She manipulates you to give your strength into her. Okay, you got to keep in mind, man. A lot of these women today, guys, are closet feminists, whether they're a Christian woman.
Closet feminists. All these dang women not wanting me to have authority over them. Benikagami says, Hannah, question. The hate of Judas implies that you assume any of these people think about their belief system. If they did that, they'd wonder why the church quotes Paul more than Jesus. They'd question hell doctrine despite it being basically nowhere in the Bible. Hell, they'd question the existence of the devil because he, again, doesn't exist in the Bible. Again, some of in the Paul stuff, he comes up. But I get what you're saying. They'd wonder why Peter's considered loyal despite constant defiances of Jesus. Clearly they think about none of this. I don't know if it's that they don't think about it. I think people justify things to themselves, or they're provided justifications by their particular church or the people around them. Like, I was in, Christian school, and I went to church when I was very young, and I remember if I ever had questions, there was always some justification. Wasn't a good justification, mind you. Obviously, I became non-religious, so you can tell that I didn't, find those answers fulfilling. I didn't find those answers to be convincing or truthful or make sense, but they do often have some sort of justification, even if it's a faulty one.
Women, whether they go to church, don't all cap, guys. I'm not saying all women, but majority of women today, they're not going to tell you that they're a feminist, but by their actions, by their fruits, how they treat you, how they treat men in general, not just you, men in general.
You think she should have bodily autonomy?
They're really just
the horror.
This closet feminist. So you got to be very cautious of these women. Okay, be very cautious. Maybe she got her heart broken by some other dude, so now she's taking out the anger on every other man she gets into.
Projection.
Woman who hasn't been healed yet, that's a woman too who could be used. That's a bonus one. Someone leave that timestamps. That's a woman who hasn't been healed yet.
That's interesting. I really got to get into reading the Apocrypha at some point. Seems like there's some interesting stuff in there.
All these soul ties with all these different men, all these husbands, okay? Best believe, man, that's a woman who could be used to destroy you, okay? That's a bonus one. I didn't even put that up there. It just came in right now. Number 4, a woman sent by Satan will try to make you do the opposite of God's word, okay? To rebel against your leadership, which I talked about the closet feminists, okay? When God says a man is supposed to lead, and you're trying to lead that woman in righteousness and truth, and she's not trying to do that, she's trying to get you to lead her, okay? That's someone who's sent by the devil, man.
Get her to lead you. You misspoke.
A woman try to lead over a man, try to rule over a man. Where in the Bible did that happen? We know Jezebel tried to rule over her husband. And look what happened. Destruction happened. Okay? What's his name?
Esther. Story of Esther?
The Ahab. Yeah, Ahab. A total sin. I guarantee you guys.
Call me Ishmael.
In the flesh, he looked strong. He probably worked out. He was rich. So in the eyes of the world, he was strong. Dude, it was a total sin, man, spiritually. You let a woman control you? A woman who has to put on makeup to look decent, or to use her witchcraft to seduce men?
That's actually, I have to put on this witch hat before I put my makeup on before a stream. It's a kind of witchcraft, truly.
You're letting that take you down, man? So that's what happened with Ahab, man. But a woman sent by the devil will get you to do the opposite of God's word. So you want to lead. She doesn't want to do that. She wants to lead. Okay, maybe, God's convicted you. We got to keep the 10 commandments. She don't want to do that. Okay, I mean, just the simple things. You try to get, okay, we know maybe there's a sin y'all struggling with, or maybe she's struggling with. You're trying to be a leader. You try to save, try to save her, right? Which you shouldn't be doing. Only Jesus could do that. But you try to take that role, right? And she just don't want to listen. She don't want to listen. She's gonna end up like what's his name? What's her name? Lot's wife. There you go. She's gonna end up like Lot's wife. Almost forgot.
He was trying to think of a name until he realized, oh yeah, they didn't give her a name. She's just Lot's wife. That's interesting. The Nikigami says, Samson is a perfect example of how the Bible states that if you're God's special little boy, rules just don't apply to you and you're held to a different standard. Samson was a lying, cheating, stealing, murderous bastard who died because he broke the one rule God gave him, even though his enemies were only delivering the consequences of Samson's actions on him. God still granted him favor in letting Samson kill his enemies himself in a final act of spite. Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of wish they'd done an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where he played Samson for no other reason than Arnold Schwarzenegger killing a bunch of dudes with a donkey jawbone would have been pretty rad. Just a thought. Maybe get old Arnold Schwarzenegger to go be Samson.
Her name, the Bible didn't say her name, but it just said Lot's wife. Lot's wife didn't want to listen. When the angels came, because God was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, Lot took his children. Hey, we got to get out of here. The angels, they're coming to protect us. And Lot's wife was like, now look at the world, this divine feminist culture, women are gods, and, all this luxury and pleasure, just like we see today.
Didn't I make him the image for Samson and TBR? Probably. That seems like something I'd do. I mean, I just independently came up with it again here, so probably. I will accidentally come up with bits I've come up with before sometimes, so that sounds about right. Probably Conan pictures mostly, if I had to guess.
Hey, just like we see today, where women are in rulership, women have all the benefits, everything they have given to them. Eve wasn't trying to give that. Lot's wife, she wasn't trying to give that up. A lot of women today, guys, are not trying to give up the world. And you getting with a woman like that, she could be used by Satan to get you to turn into a pillar of salt. If you're not careful. Okay, God turned her Lot's wife to a pillar of salt to be an example, to set an example for those who go back into the world, for those who don't want to follow God's word, those who don't want to take heed to their husband's commands. Now, make sure, of course, it's a godly husband, but unfortunately today, I'm sorry to tell you, brothers, it's truth. A lot of women don't desire a godly man. A lot of women don't desire your leadership is because they're closet feminists. Okay, they won't admit this, but this is the truth. They rather go to the worldly dude, the lukewarm guy, the lukewarm Christian. That's because that man is not going to tell her to change her life, to let her live how she lives. Let her, live in sin, and he's just gonna, let her do it.
You're telling me women don't want to be told to completely change who they are for their boyfriend? Shocking.
Whatever she wants. Okay, but you being a godly man, you being masculine, Okay, you being a strong man, you ain't letting no woman roll over you. She don't want nothing to do with you. For the most part, I'm not saying all women, so don't come at me. But most of them, that's how they are today. Okay, so you're never gonna have any peace with them, man. You're never gonna have no peace. And that's also another sign of someone sent by the devil, a woman or a man. You just try to make peace, but it just can't. It just there's nothing you could do. Okay? And it's just chaos and toxicity. Okay, remember the Bible says witchcraft.
Lennon Cat says, I don't understand this modern idea of Jezebel using her feminine wiles to manipulate men. In the book, she doesn't seduce men. She was just of a heathen faith that persecuted what we would now call Jewish or Hebrew people. She just worshipped Baal instead of Yahweh and was the enemy of the story of Elijah. I guess I'd have to reread it. It's been a while. I believe you, though.
The sin of witchcraft is as, the sin of rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 23. So anyone who's operating in rebellion towards God's word or towards your leadership, you being led by God, that's a red flag. We know that person under witchcraft. We know that person is battling spirits, and those spirits are using her to get to you. Because this is spiritual. Like I said in the beginning of the video, man, the minute she was sent to do what she did, get you to go back into sin, it's usually that. Okay, not to say that's the only thing, but it's usually that gets you to go back to the sin. Oh yeah, she was sent by the enemy. Oh yeah, big time. Okay, get you to have her mind on you. And
this is a whole other level of NPC belief, isn't it? You think that other people aren't just NPCs, but actively enemy characters being spawned into the game of your life by Satan?
Mind is no longer on Christ. Your mind is no longer on the word. You no longer find yourself meditating on the word, but you're meditating on her. She was sent by the enemy. Facts, facts, facts. Man, if you guys make this far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Next one is... dude, the Bible warned us, disguising himself as a godly servant, okay, or godly or just a servant, right? But lives double lives. The fruits don't match the actions, and you see the patterns, walks in darkness, okay? So you gotta the Bible says that for such as false apostles, deceitful workers, disguise themselves as apostles of Christ. For no marvel, for Satan himself is also transformed into an angel of light. So Satan's servants, they may profess and look and act godly, go to church, read their Bible, right? Claim they keep the commandments, claim they keep the Sabbath day, right? But deep down and rooted in their soul and their spirit, they're really devils. They disguise themselves as the angel of light so they can lure in you. Because best believe when you're godly, when you have the Holy Spirit, you're operating in a high frequency. So people feed off your energy. They feed
There's that frequency talk again.
Off your light, like a mosquito. Mosquito loves coming to light. Same thing with Satan's servants, Satan's children. They love the light around them because it's high frequency energy.
Do you understand that there's a reason that certain insects fly towards lights? It's not just like how they are. There's like a reason that they do that.
Okay, same thing how the mosquitoes do. They suck your blood. Same thing with these devils do. Just drain you, and suck you.
Like for instance, moths navigate by moonlight. So, like, non-natural light sources at nighttime fuck up their navigation, and that's why they go towards lights. Like, it's not just 'cause. Are the demons confused?
So, yeah, the fruits don't match. The actions don't match. They walk in darkness. Okay, now, it's different for a woman, struggling with sin. It's not she's trying to fight it off, but a woman is just not trying to fight it off, just giving it over to it. That's a red flag. Next one is nothing you do makes her happy. Complains about her mistakes and...
Nothing you do makes her happy. That's a conspiracy theorist tells on themselves on the bingo card big time, isn't it?
And tries to make you pay for them. Oh my goodness. This is narcissism 101. A woman making mistakes in her past in her life, and she's trying to make you pay for the mistakes. Be very cautious with this woman. But these type of women, they usually lure in the simps, the suckers, the beta males. That's the usually type of man they lure in. Godly men usually don't fall for this shot, but unfortunately, when you're constantly watching porn, when you're touching yourself all day, you now become spiritually weak. These type of women are a prey into you. So fight the flesh, and have the Holy Spirit lead you. And yeah, spiritual warfare, guys. These are the 7 signs a woman was sent by the devil in your life. You guys made this far. Like, share, subscribe. God bless. I love you all. Peace.
Well, that's an interesting gentleman. Huh. He certainly has some beliefs. Strange. Alright, let's see what we're gonna do next. While I'm looking for that, calls to action, memberships, super chats, bits, subscriptions, memberships, and tips all help the show. Couldn't do the show without you guys, so if you can, consider donating in some way, shape, or form. Also, over halfway through our costume goal, we have about a week and a half left, a little under that, of costume month left, and we're over halfway to the next goal. So the sooner we get to that, the sooner more costumes after we're done with this month. All right, let's see what we're gonna watch. Nemesaur, thanks for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. Much appreciated. Fennec Agami says the answer to Lennon Cat's question is that misogynistic beliefs fundamentalists like this subscribe to, men are almost never held accountable for their own actions, and women are often blamed for the failings of men. However, they need an explanation for why God fails to save women from their faults, so the Jezebel spirit becomes an excuse for the evils of women because Jezebel's the only well-known evil woman of the Bible. That's a decent justification. Like, not a real one, but decent in your explanation, to be clear. Not a good justification, but it does explain what they believe. Alright, let's check out Flat Earth Asshole, also known as Jake the Asshole.
People are freaking out.
Here is a video, my current stance on the Flat Earth topic, and this guy's a Flat Earther. So this is an up-to-date view on what he thinks.
Because I think it's the way you said something and that I don't agree with, and which is, if you see a clear sun, you know, circling around, and we know, and it wasn't faked, you made it sound like you're going to say the Earth is a globe.
I'm going to say that the Earth cannot be flat. I'm going to say that the Earth cannot be flat.
I'm going to say that the Earth cannot be flat.
What's up, guys? Jake here. And today I am going to be taking it back to where it all began, the flat Earth topic. That's right, my very first video I ever made back in 2016. Wow, time flies. It was called Flat Earth Popular Questions. I had no idea.
Let's see, that was 8 years ago, that has 36,000 views. 2 days ago, 7,000 views. Not as many viewers as he used to have. I feel that.
I was going to become a professional YouTuber, but here I am. The year is now 2024. So people are now asking, well, what is your current stance with the flat Earth? So I am going to dedicate this video into catching everyone up and letting everyone know my current stance with the flat Earth topic. So first off, I am not a globe believer. I do not believe in the globe model at all. I do not believe in the concept of outer space. I do not believe in the concept of an infinite space vacuum. I do not believe in space missions. I do not believe in any sort of space exploration done by any sort of government. And yes, that does include SpaceX, Blue Origin, and etc. I don't believe in a globe because it is provably wrong. I don't believe in an AE map with a singular circling sun and a singular circling moon.
Yeah, he believes in two suns. We covered his video where he believes that there are two suns that take turns. Which is nice. They get some time off. Everyone likes that.
Because it is provably wrong. I believe in what we can prove. I believe in what I see. And what I see is a sun that rises from the horizon.
Yeah, that's what it looks like when you're on a rotating sphere that angles itself towards that.
I see a sun that sets back into the horizon.
Again, in the video we watched, I think last week or something by him, he literally thinks there's a hole in the earth somewhere that the sun goes into and then it like travels under the earth to come up the next day. And there are two of them taking turns. H-Beard says, where does the two suns live? Do they share an apartment in Tucson? Again, under the earth. They go under the Earth, according to him.
One of the biggest lies ever told on the flat Earth is that the sun isn't setting, it just appears that way because it's moving away from you. And the sun isn't really rising, it just appears that way because of perspective. It's actually...
I don't remember if he thinks there's two moons.
...just coming at you. And the whole thing is just perspective.
That goes along with perspective showing a sun level of, across the level Earth going away.
The reason why this is one of the biggest lies ever told on the flat Earth is because we don't see the sun get smaller and smaller and smaller and shrink into a dot.
He is correct about this.
That only
That is a flat Earth belief where some of them think the sun doesn't set, or that we don't, rotate in a way that makes it appear to set. They think it gets smaller as if it's going towards a vanishing point. It doesn't. It doesn't do that. But they pretend like it does? Kind of odd.
Exists on that one YouTube video. If you go watch the sun set in person, you will see it get big and orange and then merge into the horizon. So this notion that these street lights are all at the same distance above the Earth and they only appear to be merging into the horizon due to perspective, yeah, that is correct. But that's not the same thing that's happening with the sun.
The sun isn't getting smaller in these clips. The ones that they use to justify that belief are ones where there's glare. There's like a big looking sun and most of its glare on the camera lens or in your eyes. And then as the sun starts to set, there's less light coming at you in the camera lens, so the glare lessens, which makes the overall, image of light appear smaller, when in reality all that's happening is the glare is reducing. You can completely get rid of that effect with a glare filter, which exists for cameras.
As you can clearly see, those street lights appear to be getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
People living just to find emotion, hiding somewhere in the night.
Smaller and smaller until it shrinks into a tiny little dot. Look at the first street light and how big it appears, and then look at the last street light near the horizon. Yeah, that's not happening with the sun. So what they want you to do is disregard what you are actually experiencing, what you actually see with your own two eyes, and instead they want you to accept this lie that the sun only appears to be rising due to perspective, and it only appears to be setting due to perspective. Yeah, I'm gonna prove in this video
this is kind of funny watching an old school flat earther making fun of newer flat earthers' theories, hypotheses, whatever you want to call them.
Sun is rising and it is setting.
Yes, he is the guy with the homeless tweaker shirt from the H-Bomber Guy Flat Earth video. He has a shirt that has a picture of the lunar capsule on it, and it says, "Lunar capsule or homeless tweaker shelter?" And he would go around asking people, does this look like a lunar module to you? Or a homeless tweaker shelter? Which is a weird question to ask people.
And it's not just due to perspective.
Earth is a level, motionless plane with the sun, moon, and stars revolving over and around us, just as you experience every day. It is obvious to any child and sovereign-minded adult that the sun, moon...
Sovereign-minded adult. I'm not thinking. My brain signals are traveling.
Stars and planets, every light in the sky above, revolves around the motionless earth beneath our feet.
Wrong! Not only is this provably wrong disinformation, but these lies have been being pushed by liars like Eric Dubay, David Weiss, Jeranism, Mark Sargent, you name it, the list goes on and on. This is provably wrong disinformation that has been being pushed for a decade.
Again, this guy is a flat earther. This is the weirdest video I've watched today, and that's saying something. We've had some doozies, but a flat earther mad at other flat earthers for spreading disinformation is up there for me.
One circling sun and one...
And I'm pretending to sing into a microphone when she has a microphone. Nah, this isn't as satisfying as this. You need to have a thing that you can, like... If I got too close to this, it would sound loud and awful.
Circling moon over the AE map is impossible, and I'm going to prove it to you. And once I prove it to you, then the notion of the sun rising and setting on a flat earth might not seem so crazy.
You're gonna bring up his diagram of the earth with the sun hole.
Every year, there are 2 equinoxes, one that occurs around March 20th, the spring equinox, and the other which occurs around September 22nd, the autumn equinox. Now, on the equinoxes, that means every single person on the flat earth is going to get about 12 hours of sunlight and 12 hours of darkness. Not only that, everyone on the flat earth is going to see a 90-degree east sunrise and a 270 west sunset. Now, you can't just spin one sun around the AE map like a flashlight and light up a circle portion of the earth. That's not going to do the trick. You actually have to light up half of the earth. That way you can get 12 hours of light.
I'm sorry you had such a rough day, Ashley, but I'm glad that you're done now.
12 hours of darkness. Now, here's the impossible part. The sun has to be on the equator, as it's shown, but every single observer on the flat earth is going to see a 90-degree east sunrise and a 270 west sunset, which is impossible with one circling sun. I'll let Q and Fee model it up and explain it all.
Every light in the sky above revolves around the motionless earth beneath our feet.
Circling around, you say? I think your head is circling around. This is not really a match with your presentation. So this must go around with 15 degrees an hour. I think you're a lunatic. And it happens to be the equinox. And guess what? Here is the sun setting. And on this side the sun is rising. 90 degrees east. And set 270 degrees west.
Wouldn't everyone on a flat Earth see the sun at all times unless it went below the disk? Yes, but they have come up with a variety of justifications for why you don't. Bad ones.
Rises with an angle of about 90 degrees east. On the same moment over a full longitude. It seems we have more than 190 degrees east direction. You see that? And here at 160 degrees west, we have the sun.
No offense, but I'm gonna skip this guy just because I don't care about him as much as the other dude.
Over his head, right, circling sun on the equator, it is impossible for every observer on that same line of longitude to see a 90-degree east sunrise and a 270-degree west sunset. Q and Fee modeled this up perfectly, and anyone with a working brain should be able to see that by Q and Fee modeling up how it's physically impossible for one circling sun to be in all those locations at once. That should prove to you or anyone watching that a single circling sun over an AE map is impossible. As you can see by this example modeled up by Q and Fee, Every observer on this line of longitude is going to be seeing the sun rise at the same moment from the same angle. And then over on the other side of the Earth, on that same line of longitude, these three observers are going to be seeing the sun set at the exact same moment. But wait, that's not all. You see this guy over here standing on the equator? He's gonna look straight up and see the sun right over his head in that exact same moment. So how can you have 7 different observers seeing the sun in 7 different locations at the exact same time? Does that mean there are 7 suns?
Obviously not. There are 2, idiots.
No. What's happening is that each observer sees their own sun, and each observer only sees one sun. So basically, we are all seeing our own sun.
Didn't he just did a video where he said there were 2 suns? Is he contradicting himself now?
So what does that mean? It means the sun is rising, it is setting, and we are all seeing our own independent local sun. And the angles at which we all see our own independent local sun, they don't triangulate back to one singular circling sun.
You idiots think there are 7 suns? You fools, there are 8 billion suns. Did CC watch this guy? He might, but this video is from 2 days ago, and CC posted his video about there being an individual sun for everyone before that. This isn't a completely original idea. I've heard this before, but it's gaining more prevalence, it seems, with the flat earthers.
The apparent motion of the sun is not uniform. For this reason, it would be difficult to construct a clock capable of keeping this irregular time. Therefore, a mean or imaginary sun is used.
Yeah, we're in an elliptical orbit.
This mean sun is assumed to have a uniform rate of motion with respect to the Earth. The time measured by the mean or imaginary sun is called mean or civil time, and uses a mean or imaginary sun as its reference point.
So in order for celestial navigation to work, a mean sun or virtual sun is used, and the reason is because the actual observation angles to the sun are irregular, and they don't triangulate back to one singular sun.
Agebird says the sun is also meant, is so mean it burns my pale skin. Me too. What did we do to it?
So the fact that the angles at which we all see the sun are irregular, they don't use the actual position of the actual sun for celestial navigation. They use a virtual sun as...
Yeah, and the calendar isn't perfect either. We also do leap years to catch up because it's not exact. Yep. Phyllis Filler says it was the dawn of the age of ignoramus.
In a not real sun. Once I found this out, then it made perfect sense why a singular circling sun over an AE map doesn't work at all. That's because it's the imaginary sun, the mean sun, the virtual sun. That's why none of the sunrise and sunset angles match. That's why it fails so miserably. So what's happening is guys like Eric Dubé, David Weiss, Jeranism, Mark Sargent, they're all using the virtual and/or mean sun, which has to go around in 24 hours. This is a virtual sun, which means it's not real. And so when you take the actual observation data
That's
of the
true, Ashran. There are also leap seconds.
real sun, it doesn't match the circling path over the AE map. Do we understand ourselves? I hope so. So what does all that mean? Well, that means we live in some sort of a hyper-realistic simulation of sorts. Perhaps a...
Robo Twilight says virtual means it's not real. That's a good observation that I didn't make. He seems to be under the impression that because it's a model that's functional, albeit a little inaccurate, therefore it's fake. All models are wrong. Some are useful. We are never going to be able to 100% create a model of everything in the world, because then it would just be a duplicate of the world, right? We create simplified models that we can use to predict things to the accuracy that we need, right? That doesn't make these things fake. It makes them useful for their purpose. They are limited in scope, but nonetheless they are helpful for the purpose for which they were created. Harold Ebleman says, the corona is gold fringe on the Admiralty sun. Wake up, sheeple.
Virtual reality. Well, if you don't...
You're right. It's better to say they're approximations, but it's a better quote to say wrong.
Like either of those explanations, for lack of a better explanation, this place is a magical, mystical realm that defies explanation. So the notion of one singular circling sun is impossible. And the fact that we are all seeing our own local sun rise and set is a reality. So rather than make excuses and deny reality, I'm going to accept that this is indeed reality, what we are seeing and experiencing.
Overthought with 100 bits says, so basically reality isn't an objective thing, it's whatever someone perceives. It loads in as we go. You're all NPCs. I'm the main character.
People are freaking out because I think it's the way you said something and that I don't agree with, and which is, if you see a clear sun, you know, circling around, and we know, and it wasn't faked, you made it sound like you're going to say the Earth is a globe.
I'm going to say that the Earth cannot be flat.
And that brings us back to these two scumbags, Jeranism and David Weiss. So in this clip, Dave Weiss is calling into Jeranism's show, and they're both pretending to have a bit of an argument over whether or not the final experiment will falsify the flat Earth model if they see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And so Jaren is supposed to go to Antarctica for Will Duffy's final experiment, and if he sees a 24-hour circling sun in Antarctica...
We'll definitely watch that whenever it happens. It's going to be interesting, because I don't expect Jeranism will not admit he's wrong, is my prediction. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Jeranism does and admits he's wrong, but I don't think he will. This is his career. He writes books about it. So I don't think he will, but the real-time goalpost shifting will be interesting. Get a little bit of an inner view on his own ability to shift the narrative as things don't go the way he expects. That'll be interesting. I don't think it'll change any flat earthers' views, at least not many, if any are, but it will be informative. And that's what we're here for, I think.
He's going to come back and say that the Earth cannot be flat. His words. Now, Dave Weiss is going to say that that wouldn't falsify the flat Earth model, but it would falsify their sky model. Now, I want to point out that Jaren and Dave Weiss have been pushing an incorrect, debunked, falsified sky model for like a decade, basically. And the circling sun was debunked by me back in 2017, and Q and Fee even before that, I think back in 2016. And so, not only have flat earthers debunked this one circling sun nonsense, but a bunch of globe earthers have too. So the fact that Jaron and Dave Weiss...
Oh shit, he went on Roseanne's show and talked about flat earth. I wanted to cover that. I still have that video saved. Yeah, Dearth went on Roseanne's podcast. They talked about flat earth.
And Eric Dubé and plenty of other fake flat earthers have made excuses for nearly a decade every time the circling sun got debunked. But now they're going to pretend like if Will Duffy has this experiment where they see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, well, then that falsifies the whole flat earth model. No, it doesn't mean that the earth is a globe. But it does falsify that circling sun. Absolutely. You can't have a circling sun over the AE map and have a circling sun going the opposite direction in Antarctica in December. That's impossible. So yes, it proves Eric Dubé wrong, it proves Jaron wrong, and it proves David Weiss wrong, it proves Mark Sargent wrong, Wits It Gets It wrong, Flat Earth Banjo wrong.
That's a new one.
Marble, Bob Nodell.
Oh, don't pick on Bob. Bob's dead.
Yeah, all those guys who ever pushed a circling sun, yeah, those guys are all gonna be proven wrong. All of them. You know who won't be proven wrong? Me! Because I stopped using the circling sun back in 2017 after I proved it wrong.
And really, that's what's important, is that he's right.
It won't prove Q&Fee wrong because he doesn't use a circling sun either. So, I don't believe in a globe. I believe that the horizon is horizontal. I don't know what this realm is. I don't know what shape the Earth is. I couldn't tell you that. But what I can tell you is seeing the sun do a 360 in Antarctica does not mean that the Earth is a globe. It does not prove the Earth is flat or not flat. What it does do is prove one circling sun is incorrect. So, all the stuff that Eric Dubé pushed for a decade, yeah, that will be proven wrong. But it already has been proven wrong. Jaron will be proven wrong, but he already has been proven wrong.
By
David
me.
Weiss will be proven wrong, but he already has been proven wrong. So, Jaron is getting ready to flip to being a globe believer. And he's gonna wait until he sees a circling sun in Antarctica. And then he's gonna say that the Earth cannot be flat, so therefore it must be a globe. That is what is most likely is going to happen in late December. So I'm calling the whole thing out right now, and I'm saying I think they will see a circling sun in Antarctica, and my model that I just made up calls for it. And I'm going to make up an alternate model that doesn't call for it. That way I'm covered on both sides.
I'm playing both sides. That way I always come out on top. He said it. He said it out loud.
I think I might make up, I don't know, 10, 20 different models. Just to throw some monkey wrenches into the mix, because why not? I can prove Jaron wrong. I can prove Will Duffy wrong. I can throw monkey wrenches into their whole charade by just creating some new theoretical models. There's no rule that says I can't do that, so I just...
There ain't no rule that says a dog can't play basketball!
Just did. So guess what? The final experiment falsified. And also, the circling sun business over the AE map, that was already debunked years ago. No need to even go to Antarctica, fellas. We can falsify it much sooner, because guess what? The equinox is right around the corner. Yeah, the next equinox in late September will prove me right, prove Q and Fee right. It'll prove all those shillbags wrong, and it'll take the piss out of Will Duffy in his supposed final experiment.
Well, that was something. Not something good, but something. I think we're probably going to call it for the day. So thanks everyone for hanging out. It's much appreciated. I enjoy your company and watching me rant about nonsense. So thank you. I should be streaming tomorrow later in the day. If not, I'll let you know. But thanks everyone for hanging out. Let's see who we're gonna raid.
Over the tank.
Alright, have a good night, everyone. Do this raid. Make sure you like the stream, by the way. Alright. Have a great night, everyone. Have some good dinner or whatever. I'll see you soon. Or else. Ominous. Bye. Bye, Mr. Blast.